Day 2 of the NFL Combine, and with that, Buffalo Bills head coach Joe Brady and GM, along with President of Football Operations Brandon Beane, both spoke with the media earlier today, and we did get some news as Beane did confirm the team has restructured right tackle Spencer Brown's contract and have now freed up around $10.4 million in cap. We'll get more on what was said today, though, a little bit later on at 5 p.m. when Sal Capaccio joins the show. Around the rest of the league, again, GMs and coaches speaking with the media. Falcons general manager Ian Cunningham confirmed today the team is going to be releasing quarterback Kirk Cousins on the first day of the new league year. Jets GM Darren Muji said that either franchise or transition tag could be used on running back Breece Hall if a deal is not agreed upon by March 3rd. And then the Lions, they are going to be playing a 2026 regular season game in Munich, Germany. To the Sabres, no practice today. Head coach Lindy Ruff, however, did meet with our morning show. And if you missed that, you can listen back over on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. But we did get some roster news ahead of tomorrow night's game at New Jersey, as the Sabres have called up forward Anton Wahlberg from Rochester. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones on Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
You might be mocking me or you might be staunchly agreeing with me. I can't tell.
I'm mocking you.
And the Bulldog.
What is Fozzie Bear's role in this production?
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Okay. National Trading Card Day. Are you sure you're prepared?
Oh, I'm absolutely not prepared at all.
There's no way you're prepared for National Trading Card Day. I brought in local trading cards.
All right.
This is a box. Does Rochester know they can watch this show? I mean, it's got to be overwhelming at this point.
Oh, my gosh.
to think all these FM stations and Rochester stations and now what?
They could have been
Video?
watching for a while. I mean, I just, but if you are enjoying us on your radio and for some reason are somewhere where you only have access to YouTube and not a radio, you can get us that way.
Which means there really is no excuse.
That's right.
After that.
That's right. You shouldn't miss any of it.
No.
You should be you out there should be prepared. I'm not. Although I am carrying around 10 or so trading cards that a listener sent in.
Yeah, what was up with that?
I don't know. I've not dug in any further. I did save this person's address. I've not reached out to say thank you or what was your motivation, but they sent the only correspondence was an index card that said Bulldog in charge of dispersal.
Oh, BICOD. That's what that's short for.
Okay.
Bulldog in charge of dispersal.
So
you're the dispersal master.
I guess. I don't know. But I haven't really, I haven't been of the mind yet to disperse the cards.
Well,
but they're in my bag.
Let me not get tripped up here. You and I did have a conversation about these, and you showed me everything.
Right.
And I thought there was one card that was interesting from a value standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I think not everybody who is into the hobby does so from a value standpoint, but many do. And that might even be my first instinct when looking through a short pile you got in the mail. You're the Bulldog of Bulldog in charge of dispersal fame.
I'm assuming the person was right. The correspondence was addressed to both of us. It was a day where we had two pieces of mail. And wow. I said, okay,
it's a record.
This one, it's handwritten, whatever. The other one was a more official-looking, typewritten to you and I both. And I gave you the official-looking one, and I opened the other one, and it turned out that it did say inside there that I was in charge. So if you had opened it, I would trust you would have handed it over to me. Bulldog is in charge of dispersal. Here, Bulldog.
You're in charge of dispersal. Yeah. Interesting strategy by this anonymous person.
Yes. But I think they wanted us both to be obviously aware of the what had been sent.
Well,
anyway, here we are. How does one other than bring a box of local trading cards? I guess that's how someone celebrates national. Is it National Trading Card Day?
Yes.
International Trading.
I don't think it's international.
No, they haven't got.
Sorry, Canada.
No jurisdiction to make that work.
I don't know how one celebrates National Local trading card day. All I mean by local is these are mine.
Oh, okay. I thought
They live in my house.
I thought you meant
and I brought them
you
to
had
work.
collected
It's show and
cards
tell.
of people with trading cards from Buffalo.
I do have a couple.
Is what I thought that meant. That's a pretty big box, though, and I thought maybe that would be more than.
You want to start? I'll show you one.
Okay, sure. I mean,
You want Buffalo?
We're here. Yeah, that's what I misunderstood what you meant
I'm sorry.
when you said that.
That wasn't.
No, there's no apology
wasn't
necessary.
obvious
I mean,
what
I
I
could have
meant.
taken it, a couple of different ways.
All right.
What do we got there?
We have 1974 Topps hockey Rick Martin. Card number 190. If you see a 0 at the end of the card number, that means the guy's at least pretty good.
Oh, okay.
If you see 2 zeros, like 200 is probably like, I don't know who, Guy Lafleur or somebody like that.
Okay, right.
But semi-star Rick Martin,
Yep.
would you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's 190. And this is true, like baseball cards.
I've never known this about cards.
I don't know about this anymore, but growing up, if you had a 0 at the end of your number, you were a little bit better or a lot better than most guys.
Huh. Wonder what the motivation for doing that was.
I don't know, just something
That's a little
else to
keep an eye out for.
set apart stars. But so Rick in 1973-4, he had 52 goals. Wow. And 34 assists.
Pretty good.
What happened with the assists?
He was a shooter.
He was.
He was the shooter. He was not the setup guy that Gilbert or Rene Robert were. I'll bet his assists always lagged behind those two by a decent margin. They were more the setup guys.
I know, but that's still pretty stark. That's like Vanek-esque, isn't it?
Yeah.
52, 34, 86. Basically 3 goals for every 5 points. I don't know. That seems pretty one-sided. Is he the first ever Sabres 50-goal scorer?
I believe that's right. Danny did. There was a game at the end of a year where Danny Gare came in with 47, and Martin might have had 49, and Danny got a hat trick to get 50. And I don't know if Rick got 50 that year, nor do I know what year is this. Okay, then I think he's got.
So
it.
this was your game is later.
Yeah, mine is,
and it's on that record.
Yeah, right. Okay, yes.
There's a Sabres record,
but Danny's rookie year is 75, so it can't. So I don't think anyone from 70 through 74 prior to Rick.
I didn't bring Danny
scored
today.
Yeah,
I brought some other people.
See, I'm also I'm still a little bit
Trading
off
card
the
day.
mark on local. Because I thought these were going to be people from here, not that played here, but from here. Like
local.
Patrick Kane, for example, right?
Not the word.
Joe Hesketh.
Local was not the word. Let me prove it right now. Let me put this to bed.
I'm going pretty far back here.
Let's just forget I said the L word. Was Charles de Gaulle ever in Buffalo or from Buffalo, or did he play for a Buffalo sports team? The president of France? Here, National Trading Card Day. This is a card of the former French, the legendary, dare I say it, president of France, Charles de Gaulle. Right? This is in my collection.
That is really something.
I don't know what it is.
Is that a painting of him? Is that a portrait?
I don't know. Don't you have people who chat on our show?
That does
Can somebody else answer one,
that does
please?
not look like a photo to me.
Can somebody else one time answer a card question?
Now you just reminded me, and I can't sadly go get it because my truck is being held hostage by a dealership currently. But I still have. You gave me. Is it Panamanian flag? You gave me a flag.
Oh yeah.
One time, like a little tray. It's in a little protective case. And I still have that in the center console of my truck.
Okay.
You do? The probably once or twice a year that my truck gets rummaged through on the street because that's just how it goes. They have not thought enough of that to ever take it. That has never been stolen.
Let's try this.
Very few items ever have. It's usually just change or money for the car wash guy that drives the car.
What if for those watching today, I sort of hold Charles de Gaulle in front of my face, and everything I say looks like he's the one saying it. Do I need an accent to pull this off? Or I don't really know what he sounded like.
Maybe just a
He probably spoke French.
Need a slightly bigger card with like a mouth hole. That would make it really sing.
Okay, now we're on the, we're Triumph the insult dog or something.
Conan used to
point.
do a bit where he held up like photos and like there was just a mouth hole there, and he would pretend he was the person in the picture, which is and say outrageously stupid things.
You're getting a little bit of the flavor of what National Trading Card
all
Day
of this
could be.
This has been like 8 or 9 minutes of previously unscheduled pleasure. I'm deriving. I liked seeing the Rick
previously unscheduled pleasure.
I
like
seeing the Rick Martin card. I like thinking about this memory of Danny having 47 going into one of the last games, if not the last game of the year, and getting a hat trick to get to 50. I'll want to check if Rico did it in that year too, but I just know Danny, I think, sort of stole his thunder that night with the hat trick, and it's all been good so far. And Charles de Gaulle is unique.
De Gaulle.
It's a unique piece.
First time on the show ever? Gotta be.
I would think
Gotta
so.
be.
Yeah.
As old as this show is, he's never been mentioned.
All right, well, the Olympics in the summer of what year was
24?
that? 24. With that opening ceremony, there's a chance that we would have had reason to utter the name Charles de Gaulle, I think.
Well, I for one would have avoided it.
It could have happened.
I don't want to get political.
It's possible.
By the way, some of the American hockey players are back with their teams.
Yeah, I saw Jake Gensel, for one, is not in Washington D.C. He's with his team.
Yeah.
So that's one. I don't know. I've not heard anything.
What do you
about
think,
our guys? So I don't know.
What do you think the dynamic is like? Like, so for Gensel, and I don't know anything about him in this context.
Right.
Need I say so? Is it controversial now to skip and to go to work?
I think it can be. You might be asked if you are conscientiously objecting to going, and you can choose to do whatever you want with that question. My guess is anybody who does skip today's State of the Union and is back with their teams, if they're asked about it, will just say, I wanted to get back here and get ready to play. These games matter.
Well,
and that's all they have to say, and I think they probably won't get pressed on it.
Fine, that's an out.
Yeah.
And it may or may not be true in some cases. I mean, you have your job, you have your family, you might just be exhausted and don't want to get all suited up for whatever this is.
Right. I don't know what Jake Gensel's family situation is, but if his wife is juggling little kids or is whatever it is,
whatever.
I don't even know if he's married, but yeah, there could be any number of things that would steer you to like, you know what, this is fun. I need to pull the chute. I need to get back.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about what you say, and that can be what you mean, or it doesn't have to be what you mean. But I wonder, just like what is there a struggle, perhaps, from within the team to, take a side, basically. And I'm not assuming that has to mean a political side, but just, are you one of us? We chose to do this. You might even feel like you got roped into it, perhaps. Some guys might think they have an obligation now when you're asked by the White House who says no. So, people do. But you might...
The women's team says no.
The women, well, that's one example. But you might not know exactly where you should stand. Jack Hughes and Quinn Hughes both have done, like, Good Morning America and whatever else, media talking about it. And they were both, I think, effusive about how this is not a judgment on the women. We were close to them. We were out super late. That's what Jack Hughes was talking about.
Yeah, the clip I saw of them I did watch them talking on Good Morning America. It was a long clip that I saw posted, and it felt to me like Jack Hughes had more to say about that subject, and he stopped to take a sip of water because his voice seemed compromised, and they just moved on. They made a joke about you need more hot tea or something because your throat sounds sore, and then they just took off on a different line of questioning. So I don't know if he was going to elaborate anymore, but I mentioned yesterday how it stood out to me when he was asked right after the game, like, what went through your mind when you scored your goal, and he said Megan Keller. was the first thing. Funny enough, like that was she just did this on Thursday, and I got to do it on Sunday, and that was what I thought of. I did not know. We talked about this yesterday. Their mom is still she's an assistant coach on Team USA for the women. So I think there's certainly, I don't have any question about her son's warmth and feelings and whatever toward the women's team. Like I don't think there's any animosity coming from them. Certainly that Hughes prominently mentioned the winning goal scorer from the women's team in a post-game on-ice interview, I think tells you, I think he, if you want to give him some benefit of the doubt that he knew that might be scrutinized, I think it was a nice compliment.
Well, look, I mean, these are guys who are in their 20s. And for as long as they've been coming up through the U.S. hockey program, so have there been women. That program has been here and on a peak level for at least that long. So and not to mention who his mother is. So I'm quite sure, I wouldn't think to question it for a second. Like Jack Hughes' life, sort of his globe, includes women being, tremendously well respected in hockey. And now there's a professional league, and they won the gold medal, and they've been to the gold medal game almost every time too these last many years, even when the pros couldn't go. So that's probably right. I wouldn't think to question any of the men's players in the area of what they think of the women's team. But they've been put in a really bad spot. Because who on the men's team, is there a vote? Like, do they even discuss whether they're going to accept the invitation? I think you just kind of do it unless you sort of get together and decide as a group that we're not. And I don't know if that ever had any chance of happening. I'm not saying there couldn't have been those discussions, and I tend to usually, highly respect it when there is this sort of pushback. I just don't know, where's Tage Thompson's head? Having no idea what his inclinations are, but he doesn't seem like somebody to me that sort of runs the room.
No, I think he's on the ride, I think.
So now, you're in the locker room and you're all drinking champagne, and then you're going to Florida for a night, and, I'll get to Buffalo, I'll get to whatever, but do you want to be somebody, maybe he does, maybe he will be, maybe not, who will be somebody who will jump off the ship and you know what, guys, I'm going to leave.
The team I play for hasn't been to the playoffs in 14 years, and I want to make sure I'm right for Wednesday night.
That, family, politics, whatever.
Right.
You could have different reasons, and they're all fine to move away from it. And, also, if you're somebody that feels strongly about accepting the invitation, whether you're politically minded or you're team minded, I want to be a part of the group. We've all been in groups,
right,
and had discussions. Does this feel right? Do I want to be the person that raises my hand and say, I'm not here for this?
I'm not comfortable.
That's hard to do.
Yep.
And this is on one of the highest levels for that. It would be really hard to announce whatever, even if you, like you're saying, you're right. You don't have to even make it publicly about that, but you could if that's what you wanted to say. So now, what? Do they all just sit together and clap for everything? Whoever's there. Don't you have to?
Probably.
If you're going to be a spectacle at the State of the Union, don't you have to maybe necessarily represent that you're agreeing with whatever is said? Are you going to stand? Are you going to applaud everything?
No.
Are you going to sit when everybody else is standing? Yikes. I mean, most of these guys probably do not have complete opinions about a lot of things. I'm just here to play hockey, guys. I'm just not what is happening now? My team says I should be back. My, whatever's on. The Hughes brothers kept talking about social media. That's always the easy out, is talking, social media. That's people. So, not always. A lot of your followers, I don't think, are actual people. You were saying once in private. Sorry, I didn't know if you wanted that out.
I got a load of bots.
You just still what am I doing here? I went to the Olympics. What an honor.
Right.
We won.
And now I'm in the dressing room, and the president is making misogynistic remarks about the women's hockey team, and I'm here and maybe on camera. And like, what now?
Do I wish we would have lost? Because then I could have just been in Jersey by tomorrow. I don't know. It's very complicated. And I think a lot of those guys might not have any idea what they signed up for.
Yeah.
And I doubt it's a story that goes on, for any period of time, unless tonight gets weird. It's probably over once they get by the weekend.
Yeah,
once they get back and they're with their teams.
And everybody plays if they have to take a Wednesday off or something. The teams that are playing tomorrow night that have players coming back like Jack Hughes and Tage Thompson. I did read today. I've not heard anything about Thompson and where he is in all of this. Other than that, I saw some footage of him partying in a bar in Florida yesterday after they got there with a bunch of teammates. But I did read that Hughes, the New Jersey organization, expects Hughes there for like the morning skate tomorrow. And I don't know. I have not seen it said that means they expect him to play, but they expect him to be there by tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Which, again,
that's not hard.
Given the, where everybody is. I mean, from Gensel's standpoint, for example, one player we know who's not on his way to or in Washington with these players, they were in Florida already, and they're playing in Florida tomorrow, and he might have just felt like this is a plane ride I don't need, and I'm just going to stay home. With the Sabres and the Devils, Washington is kind of on the way. They're going to be in New Jersey, and that, I think, if air travel has stabilized, that's a pretty quick flight in the morning.
It's a 5-hour drive, if that.
Yeah, right. Even if you needed to do that.
Gensel can drive to Tampa. Hughes and Thompson can drive to Jersey.
Yeah.
If Thompson has all his stuff. We know he has his stick with him, probably.
Right.
They could probably get his jersey, so he should be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
I don't plan on watching tonight, but I wonder if the hockey players, of course they'll be used as pawns in the room. Oh, here are the true patriots.
Right.
That's politics for centuries. You do that because, like we said yesterday, just like having Eichel here next week for the Sabres' first home game, here's a soft way, here's a soft landing.
Yeah, it's no different than I just watched the Netflix thing on the 1980 Olympic, Miracle team, and it's no different than that. I mean, that was, I don't know how active the politicians were in getting behind it, but it became very much a political story. It was, a lot of that documentary is like the country needed something, and this helped everyone sort of lift up spirits because of the recession and gas lines and Iran and whatever else was going on back then. There was a lot. And everyone sort of rallied around the plucky college kids, and that very much became. I really liked Al Michaels saying, prior to whichever game it was maybe it was the game against Czechoslovakia. I don't remember which game. The chanting of USA, USA, which is so ubiquitous now, it was not something that at least he said he had never experienced that kind of chanting at any sporting event prior to then. And I can't say I remember differently. I certainly remember it from 1980, but I don't know that I never heard it before that. But it's possible that was where that was born. So, it's not unprecedented. The last time the American men won a gold medal in the Olympics, the whole thing was politicized.
Yeah. Well, this wasn't until the post, which is now. So we'll see. These couple of players who have been reported to be with their NHL teams, that could just keep trickling out throughout the day. I don't know. Maybe by now, it's also relevant, like you mentioned, Gensel. Who's playing at home? Who's on the road? Does that matter? Do they all play tomorrow? They don't all play tomorrow.
That's right. No, I don't believe so.
So there's just different factors in all of it. But it's interesting how Thompson and Hughes are connected.
Right.
By this game tomorrow night, and Hughes is the big hero. Mm-hmm. He'll be if anybody's singled out tonight, it'll be Jack Hughes.
Right. And
Hellebuck.
It might be a thing that puts pressure on him to be in the lineup because he's the hero and the Devils want to honor him, and I think they'd probably rather do that if he's wearing his uniform rather than in a suit.
To be in the lineup and to be there tonight.
Right.
Hughes
right.
has special pressure to be there tonight because he scored the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew of these guys that it would be like that? You win a Super Bowl, the president's on the phone. That's it. Then you're with Mickey Mouse. This is different. Okay. Thanks again for listening on this very special National Trading Card Day. 803-0550. We'll get to some Bill stuff. Brandon Bean, Joe Brady speaking today. Sal Capaccio joins us at 5. 803-0550 is the number. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
I think we need to see Keon have the offseason he had a year ago, which was excellent. We couldn't have asked for anything more. He came to phase 1, phase 2, all that stuff, dialed in, ready to go. You could tell he'd been working out. He had an excellent camp. Let's do that again. It's the maturity. It's the off the field. I've seen that many times get in the way of people's opportunities to grow, and not only on the field, but expand their net worth off the field.
Brandon Beane today at the Combine. Cody Carpentier was on our show last week. He texted me. He said he asked that question. Maybe there was more than one question about Coleman, but
okay.
He's like, I asked Beane about Coleman. We just heard the answer, and I don't know. It started in such a way, not to get too literal, because I often do this. When he starts with same as last year. Couldn't ask for more.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't ask for more than what he was last year before you got to the regular season? Like, he was so dedicated? I don't know, maybe. But I think they do want to probably ask for more on some level from Coleman. Maybe that's just like the day-to-day of the regular season, showing up on time.
You're right. I think that's what he got to there.
It is.
Right? Like, we need the other piece to work, because, showing up in great shape and being ready for OTAs and even training camp was all positive. But once you started, not being on time for stuff and started getting benched, then the whole thing kind of different. Doesn't matter how good a shape you're in. We don't trust you to put you on the field because you can't be a good teammate and show up on time, then it doesn't matter how good a shape you're in. So obviously that step has to happen for everyone, I think, mostly. Like, be in shape, be ready. But without the other piece, I don't know if the great shape doesn't mean anything. Like, you're gonna need more. And they absolutely, to me, I can defend them keeping him here, despite how, late January and February sounded. Really, it was the owner making that one comment. Everyone else has defended him. And that might all just be words you say before you trade the guy for a day 3 pick because you're sick of it, which still could happen to me. I mean, we're in the part of the season where the Raiders are talking about we're in the business of collecting great players, so Max Crosby's not going anywhere. Like, okay. I talk to him all the time. He's in the building every day working out, and okay.
He's never been happier.
Maybe that's true, or maybe you're just absolutely trying to get, extract, which you should do. Extract every single bit of a return you can get if you trade Max Crosby. The Bills could be doing a smaller, way smaller scale version of the same thing. Just trying to protect an asset's value by talking about him in some degree of a positive light. Although he does still point out that there were issues last year. So maybe they're just earnest. They're going to try it on. Again, I started out saying I can defend it as long as you put good ideas in front of him. If he beats out your draft pick or draft picks or someone that you go out and trade for or even sign in free agency, if that's the route you go, just make sure you've got a boundary X that is, more than Josh Palmer on your team when, the real action starts. And then if Coleman can earn your trust and his talent shines through and you can find a spot for him and he can still help you, fine. I'm not so offended by him not showing up on time. I want him to stop doing that so that the team can trust him. But it's not like so egregious to me. It's not like he's doing something really offensive.
As far as we know,
right.
We don't even know that other players who are better than Keon Coleman all make meetings on time.
Right.
But that's sports. If they don't, I mean, we need you. So Coleman is young, as Beane himself was in a big hurry last year to remind us of constantly how young. People forget. No one forgot. People forget how young Coleman is. Well, when you have a player like that, and you have such a good team too, the math is probably we can really be strict here with this player. We can afford it, and we think we have a chance of winning big if we kind of, if you will, straighten him out. But, on a team, it's a luxury to be able to do that. On a team that like Bills teams of the last 20 years before Josh Allen rode in. Stevie Johnson, for me, I mean, he was really good, but that was a big one where he just sort of embarrassed the Bills, talking about how he throws the workout plan in the garbage. And I was like, I'd cut him. And I said that because the Bills were bad. And what do you need somebody for when you're bad? So I'm a new coach. One of my star players is bragging about not doing the work. I don't need that. I can't have that. I'm trying to set, McDermott, it was always culture, right? That was a big word for him. And everybody would tell you, if you had to write a paper for school today, 500 words short on Sean McDermott, culture's that's mentioned.
It might be the lead paragraph.
It might be the first thing you'd say. Like he would, on a team that was so bad for so long, he did that. And, fine. I think usually talent comes first, but they got lucky in 2017. Then they got lucky with Allen. And then I think mostly there's your culture. But that's no disrespect to McDermott. I mean, I think he cared about what he tried to do, and I'm sure he was mostly successful in that. What was the point? I think the point is the Bills had the, if you will, the luxury of, you know what, Keon, you're benched. And a bad team doesn't have that luxury, or they end up looking bad for doing it. And the Bills didn't. Did anybody criticize the Bills for how they handled Coleman? No, they criticized Coleman.
Right.
They bought the story, which maybe was right too. I'm not saying different. But you buy the Bills story, and sure, this is what should happen. You're late for meetings, you don't play. What happens if you don't play? Well, I don't get those 2 catches. Somebody else does. What's the difference? They won tons of games again. What does it look like week 1?
I hope he's inactive if he's here, I think is how I would say it, because I've redone my receiver room to such an extent that I have a better, more proven, trustworthy version of him on my team. I'm not saying 6'3" and whatever his measurables are, but somebody's in his spot that he occupied to start last season. And, the rest of it is filled out enough that you go, yeah, he's a duplicate, right? So I think he's got to earn his way back onto the field. And now maybe he does that in the summer. I don't know. But for me, sitting here right now, I want them to be strong enough at the position that they don't even have to dress him if they don't want to. That's what I think is called for at the position.
Well, Elam, a first-round pick, Coleman technically was not. Second round, first pick. It's close. How far apart, by the way, in picks are Elam and Coleman? 8, if that. But they got to that point with Kyer Elam where, all right, you're not going to play. And that might not have been discipline. Sal always talked about
it was really performance.
Dutiful he was.
Yeah.
Right. So they gave up on trying to establish that the draft capital was at all worth it. They just, no, we can't. And that's kind of what you're describing. If they come over the top of Coleman in free agency or the draft or both, and then he's just squeezed out, maybe he's released if that happens. Because if he's inactive, then he becomes who went in when somebody like Hardman or somebody, or even Shavers. He becomes somebody that just goes in if you have an injury. And you're not winning the draft bet anymore. That's dead. So you might just want to be done with it and not have to answer questions about him. I think as long as he's on the roster but not playing, there are going to be questions about him.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bills might prefer just not to have to bother if they think it's hopeless.
So yeah, I just don't. Basically, I'm saying a lot of different things. It really, the point is, I just don't want them to count on him. If they want to try to rehabilitate the relationship with him, which I don't know how rocky it is. I mean, the owner said what he said, and here we are. It's is it a month later already or whatever? Doesn't matter.
Ish.
They want to put some time in and not give up on him. I respect that, but you better not just end up in a position where it's May and you're bragging to me about how great he looks again, because that was last year all over again, and it ended up burning them. They really couldn't count on him. So I think he's earned enough skepticism that you better do enough at the position. You know, there's room between counting on him and inactive on game day. Like he could be the last guy active, you know, and that guy doesn't have to play a lot. That could be a guy that you bring into the game who only gets on the field when the other guy is tired or the other guy gets hurt in the game. And that's fine too. I just don't want him snap 1, 3 receiver set. Keon Coleman's on the field. Mm-hmm. That should not happen. I don't think there's almost nothing to me he can do between now and September that would earn him that. Because it sounds like he did everything right the way Bean is talking, and he's not going after timelines, but he is saying the offseason was really good. He put the work in. You could tell he'd been working out before he even got here, and the summer went well, and then immaturity crept in, and that sounds like when the season began. Mm-hmm. So there's not a lot of ground he can make up for me, and I want the team to be hard like this too. Between now and September, no. I'm going to put people in front of you. Yeah. If you hop over them, you know, hat tip to you.
Yesterday we were talking about, of course, the overtime winning goal in the Olympics and where it ranks generally, like great sports moments. And it was games that you went to. Neither Bulldog nor I was at the game, sadly, in Italy on Sunday. Thought about it, but I stayed home. Here's a game I was at 44 years ago tonight.
Yowza. What do we got here?
Gretzky's goal to break Esposito's record.
I saw a clip of that today being the anniversary. Sabres Classics or somebody on Twitter.
Paul Hamilton on the call for NBC radio in the Odd in 1982 happened. Also, it is National Trading Card Day, and here's a Wayne Gretzky card.
A little Gretzky for you.
What's funny about this card?
The first thing I did when you held it up was wonder who's that Capitals player behind him. So I don't know if that's exactly funny. I'm guessing that's not what you're after.
It's whoever the captain was.
All right.
In 1979 or 80, and I don't know who that would be.
Yeah, me either.
Ryan Walter, is he old enough? No, what's funny about this card, if those of you who are watching, is that somebody wrote the words Wayne Gretzky on the card.
Oh, dear.
And it wasn't me.
Is that's on the puck there or whatever, that puck-shaped object?
Yes. So 80 Tops had a scratch-off element.
Did you get this card from Paul?
You would think.
Paul Hamilton, the aforementioned Paul Hamilton, used to X out the eyes of players who passed away and write R.I.P. on the cards.
Correct. I have a lot of those cards. I bought a lot of cards from Paul.
Yes.
I doubt this is one of them. But you had to scratch off.
I think he was a little kid when he did that. I don't think he was.
I think he was 30. You had to scratch off the puck to find out the name of the player, which is regrettable looking back if you ever did that. I've got this card with some of that. I've got this card without it. The O-Pee-Chee cards of the same 1980 set didn't have the scratch off, so the name just appears. Anyway, somebody maybe scratched it off so hard that it all just sort of came off, and they fixed that.
Right.
Fixed that by writing Wayne Gretzky. Can you see it? By writing Wayne Gretzky on the card itself. Wow. So, National Trading Card Day. There's another one for you.
I needed you to call attention to that. I could not tell what was on that when you brought it up.
This card, if perfect.
Wow.
And by perfect, I mean to include not written on.
And
is worth a lot of money.
And do you need the name not scratched off at all?
Yes.
Okay. So you need the card not really touched at all.
And perfect in every other way.
Right.
Perfectly centered.
Yeah.
Corners are pristine. No scratches or creases, anything like that. That card is worth a lot of money if you have that. I don't know how many of those exist, but it was still early enough in time where kids usually played with cards.
Right.
I scratched off I was 8. I scratched off the pucks on all of mine unless they were doubles, and I just stopped.
Left them. Yeah.
Left them. All right, National Trading Card Day. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Keon Coleman and plans for 2026. Your thoughts are welcome here. 716-803-0550. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. get back into the Bills, the offseason, as we continue here, and especially at the top of the hour after the update. Sal Capaccio at 5. The update. Well, isn't life grand? Because at certain times you know when you're going to get the latest in sports. Unlike previously, decades ago, before February 23rd of 1986, which was the first ever, no, that's not going to be the date. There was a tweet yesterday about how in 1986, the advent of the 10-minute ticker on NFL broadcasts, on NBC.
Right, okay.
Where every, at least close to, 10 minutes after 110, 120, 130, et cetera, they would pop the out-of-town scores up there.
Yeah.
And that was what a time to be alive when that started.
In 90, when Kelly got hurt in that Saturday afternoon game against the Giants, is it right that the following week the Bills hosted Miami for the division with Reich playing? I was living in New Haven, Connecticut at the time, and that game was not televised where I was. And we watched – what year did you say this 10-minute ticker came in?
86.
Okay. We were like living and dying on the 10-minute ticker. We're watching the Patriots and the Jets or whomever, like some, whatever, some garbage game that didn't matter, and just waiting for – and I remember not just the 10-minute ticker. I remember, let's go to New York.
Bob Costas.
Yeah, like we've got an update from Buffalo. Like, this is all I've got.
Yep.
And the 10-minute ticker that served a purpose.
Oh, it was so great. There was really no other way to know.
That's right.
What was happening in any other NFL game. And I was looking at some of Twitter about this today, and somebody made a great point. The person was like, not only did you have no idea what was happening in St. Louis, you might have gone a long time before knowing what the score was of the game you were watching.
Right.
Because there was nothing on the screen that told you what the score was. Right. And unless they thought to tell you,
right,
then you wouldn't even know. So you turn on an NFL game like a few minutes into it or an hour.
Right.
And you would have no idea what the score was for sometimes quite a while.
It is amazing how much I remember. I go back long enough here. I started on the radio in '95, and the advent of stuff cluttering the screen was a conversation there. Score bugs, bottom lines, all that kind of thing. It was like, I don't think I like this. And now it's like you're naked without it.
It was controversial. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. We'll be right back. This is WGR.
Buffalo Bills head coach Joe Brady, along with general manager and president of football operations Brandon Beane, spoke with the media earlier today as day number 2 of the NFL Scouting Combine got underway. And we did get some news from Beane as he did confirm the Bills have restructured right tackle Spencer Brown's contract and have now freed up around $10.4 million in cap. We'll get more on what was said today by both men when Sal Capaccio joins the show in just about an hour at 5 p.m. Other GMs also speaking today and some other news in the league. Falcons' Ian Cunningham confirmed today that the team is going to be releasing quarterback Kirk Cousins on the first day of the new league year. Jets GM Darren Muji said that either franchise or transition tag will be used on running back Breece Hall if they cannot come to a deal upon the March 3rd deadline. And the Lions, they are going to be playing a 2026 regular season game in Munich, Germany. To the Sabres, no practice today. However, head coach Lindy Ruff did speak with our morning show, Jeremy and Joe. So if you did miss that, you can listen back over on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. But following that, we did get some roster news for the Sabres ahead of tomorrow night's game at New Jersey, as Buffalo have called up forward Anton Wahlberg from Rochester. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones on Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't think Michael's ever done drugs.
It's Mike Schopp.
I don't know if anyone's ever offered him any.
Let's go over some of the symptoms of marijuana use, shall we? You tell me who this sounds like.
It's the Bulldog.
Slow moving, inattentive, dull, constantly snacking, shows a lack of motivation.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
We've got the combine. We've got every GM doing press conferences. I'm just reading quotes from the Bears GM, Ryan Poles, about DJ Moore. I feel like there are two kinds of these quotes. The one is where the GM just patently denies any interest in moving a player. Those reports are untrue. I don't know where this stuff comes from. They get all defiant and insist that there won't be a trade, like Dave Gettleman did about Odell Beckham, like a month before he traded Odell Beckham.
Like the Raider guy did. I already referenced it. Like we're in the business of collecting great players. Max Crosby's not going anywhere. I don't know if he said not going, but he
it's our intention that he's on the team.
He was defiant about it to an extent.
Yeah, to like maybe a 7.5 out of 10 extent, maybe.
Right.
I mean, it gets more. The Patriots GM denied some report about their interest in a certain free agent. It's like just not true. Whatever. The Bears GM said about DJ Moore, this is like not 7.5. This is more like 4. We want him here. We think highly of him, but this is the time now where we have to look at all the scenarios that will allow us to put the best team out there.
Right.
He's a guy we want here, but we have to look at all the scenarios. That's almost you're gone.
Yes, it is.
It's not even 4. Maybe it's like 2.5.
Yeah.
It's pretty low. So there's all kinds of that, and that's like what I say. There's two different kinds of quotes here: the defiant, angry, "Shut up! You're lying! How dare you!"
And we still think you're going to trade the player anyway.
We don't even really care.
Then there's, he's good. We like him, but we might have better guys. Yeah. Actually, and he's making X amount of money, and, none of that gets said, but it's all like the super fans of the team know exactly, probably to the dollar, how much DJ Moore counts against the cap and whether or not they should make room for other pass catchers and get rid of them, which is kind of the way the wind's blowing on that, it seems.
Is he on your list?
I can't say I'm against the idea. I would listen. I don't know the money. I've not really looked too hard at it, but it's not something I would rule out.
He might be a cheap draft pick. The way this reads and kind of where the Bears are at, he was productive for them later on in the season. We talked about him recently, and like he's in fantasy, he's somebody that I try to never draft unless it's like too good a price. But last year, he did have some good weeks toward the end of the season, and that's really when you want good weeks in fantasy. In the playoffs, their last play was a pass to him that he didn't finish the route on, it seemed, and he was criticized for that, and the Rams went and won the game in overtime, right? That game against the Bears was an overtime game. The Bears scored late to tie it incredibly, and the Rams won the game in overtime. So I want to go back to that maybe, but I want to say this first. DJ Moore, like I told you last time, I don't really care. There's always an excuse for him. And he doesn't have good quarterbacks. He's walking off the field during a play.
Yeah.
I've got whatever happened at the end of that game last year. I've always got some reason to sort of like not buy in, or maybe I'm supposed to buy in, even though I don't want to buy in on DJ Moore. It's been too long now. It's a little bit of Amari Cooper for me, this player. But Cooper, before the Bills traded for him, he got hot. Hotter than DJ Moore just did.
Yeah.
The year before, and I relaxed on that.
He had a massive season the year before he got traded here.
Late.
Yeah.
With
right.
Flacco.
Right.
Late.
Yeah.
I mean, he won Week 16 in Houston. He had a huge, maybe a 50-point fantasy game. Then they played the following Thursday night against the Jets, and you only got to the finals if you had Amari Cooper, and then they benched him because he was hurt. So anyway.
I think I maybe want to adjust my. I'm open to anything, but that you better do better than that. DJ Moore, I might be guilty of just lumping him in with Curtis Samuel because they were teammates on Carolina.
Okay.
But it feels like that level. It feels like that level of signing or acquisition. Josh Palmer, Moore's done a lot more maybe than both of those guys. But I don't know. I want to shoot higher, I think. And maybe that's not realistic, but my favorite idea is still, because Moore, if we're talking about a trade, then we're taking on a contract that's probably pretty significant. If they just release the player, well, that's a different story. But I still like the Brian Thomas Jr. idea the best because it's going to cost me less money, which is my bigger problem. I mean, the price you pay to acquire matters too, and DJ Moore would almost, if he comes with a big number, contract-wise, would not cost you anywhere near what Brian. He's not going to cost you a first-round pick like Brian Thomas Jr. That's more like a third or fourth, maybe. So there's always that balance. But I like someone who I don't have to pay big money to right away. And that's where Brian Thomas Jr. is living.
DJ Moore has averaged 1,000 yards per season for his entire career. 1066, if you want the exact number. Last year were career lows for him in catches and yards, even with whatever spike you got late. But he's averaged over 1,000 yards. I mean, there's another guy that I think of more for that stat. The Bill post Diggs, the Bills have not had a 1,000-yard receiver, and it's sort of the other side of the coin I was talking about. But if you gave him Josh Allen, you'd probably expect 1,000 yards. That would need to happen for that to be worth it. I don't know the money. There's got to be some real money.
How many years are we talking about?
8. That's pretty good. You're averaging 1,000 yards playing for Carolina and Chicago over 8 years. That's pretty good.
Also
over 90 catches 3 times.
Also means he's been in the league 8 years, which means what is he 30?
He'll be 29 in April.
Okay, all right. So he showed up young. That helps a little. I was thinking 8 years in he could be 30 on the nose.
Almost
already, but he's not quite there yet.
Also, he went to Maryland like Diggs, so maybe that's a reason to like this idea. I don't know. I am more interested in Mike Evans. Speaking of players who are known for 1,000-yard seasons, I am more interested in Mike Evans. Like I said when his name came up a week or two ago, and I know all the listeners in Rochester, there's no possible way you would have known about that. You have no idea what we talked about last week. There's no way to find out.
That's right.
Mike Evans would be a great Bill. Like, to me, late stage, sure. Obviously. Maybe he's broken down. I don't know. Like, he had a couple of injuries last year, but he's big. That tends to hold up. He's going to be older than DJ Moore. He goes back to the Watkins draft. Evans, 14. So what? He's going to be like 32 or 33 probably. But I would roll the dice with him. That's what I would want. I think he'd be a great Bill. Evans has like the attitude, the size, the toughness, the experience. Like, the Bills have not had an alpha receiver since Diggs. Here's one.
Yeah, that's a series. That is maybe even age-wise, point in the career-wise, injury history, it's a little Von Millery. It's like a credible, this guy is an unquestioned Hall of Fame caliber player. And you might have thought he was going to play his whole career in one place. I mean, when he got Miller, he'd already been two places, but I'm gonna just hang on with it. Like, how did the league treat that? I know how we did, and it was similar. Like, that's a real idea. Look at you. And I think Evans, he's older than Miller was at the time the Bills got him. I think now, maybe. But I think like the amount of the caliber of name, the caliber of player is. It almost puts, almost sort of stiff arms how old is he? Are you sure? How old is he? Because he's been so good for so long. It took multiple injuries this year for him to finally not get 1,000 yards.
Right. You can choose not to care about his age, you're saying.
Yeah.
The Bills.
I think, that is what I'm saying. I do like that. I wonder what is he? He probably wants a big bag somewhere, right? I mean, he'd like to win again, but he's already won, right? I mean, he's a part of that Brady team that won.
Yep.
So it's not like he has to go ring chasing. I mean, he could choose to go ring chasing for a second ring, but he's not chasing his first. So you're talking probably big dough.
Yep, I would think.
Right? Like,
can we do that?
We
can always do that.
I know what the going. I'm looking at DJ Moore right now. By the way, his cap number is $28.5 million for the next 4 seasons. That's the contract. 23 is the base salary each of those 4 years. This takes him through his age 32 season. He will be a UFA in 2030. When he's 33 years old.
I don't think I want to do that at all.
So, if he gets cut, that's a different thing. But that is a bonkers contract. So, but with that said, what is Mike Evans on the open market? 2 for $50?
Okay, it's not 4.
Am I getting away with that? Like, is that enough? I don't know. Can I pad that with a third year? Probably somehow, like void years and all that kind of junk. Maybe. But I don't think he signs for a penny less than that. And that might not even be enough. He's Mike Evans.
That's right. He might want to stay in Tampa. There was a report that he was open to moving, which is probably what you say or leak when you're not getting what you want from Tampa. Because it's always, well, not always, but you'd want to think a guy would want to finish his career with one team like this.
Maybe he takes 2 for $50 to stay in Tampa. But if you're going to get him to go somewhere else, it might get to 4 by 100, 3 by 70, whatever. I'm working in $25 million increments here. I hope that would be enough. I don't know that I'd be interested in going much farther than that.
Yeah, well,
so it's big. It
depends on what you'd have to do, right?
Right. It'll be big. It'll be big money if he gets there. I think you're going to have to pay more to get him out of there than you would to get him to stay. I would guess, but I mean, what do I don't know Mike Evans, but that just seems like it would take a lot to get him to leave. I think.
803-0550 for your takes. Mike Evans, DJ Moore, someone else. I just looked in the box here on National Trading Card Day. I do not have Mike Evans.
Just with you. You have some Mike Evans at home, I imagine?
Almost definitely not.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't have everyone?
I don't.
That's ever played?
I have Charles de Gaulle.
Yeah.
I do not have Mike Evans because I stopped collecting 2014. I bought one collection from the wife of a friend of mine who had died. And so there's a lot of like Marshawn Lynch era stuff in his collection that I now have, but nothing else like that's recent.
Okay.
So
And
Mike
as long
Evans
as
is already
has been around, he's too new
he's too new
for your collection.
Yeah, I probably almost definitely do not have Mike Evans.
Well, now I know what to get you for your birthday next
Josh
year.
Allen. I have Trent Edwards. But you want to talk trade? I have Trent Edwards. I didn't bring it. I don't have Josh Allen. I do have Willie Stargell with me. Look, I know it's radio. There are people who watch the stream. Look at this card. I had to bring it just because it was so
before
incredible.
you hold it up and I can see it, I hope he's wearing the cool pirate hat.
He's not.
Okay.
The Hall of Famer, Willie Stargell, Pops, if you will. Get a look at this guy.
I do not mind at all that he's not wearing. He's got a batting helmet on for one thing, so he doesn't have the cap on. But those old school caps with the stripes around him that they used to wear.
The pillbox.
The pillbox. Thank you.
With the stars.
I did not have the name.
And Stargell was the person who doled out the stars on
That looks like a great American athlete is what that looks like right there.
Look at the midsection. Some are asking, is this William Perry? Some who can't see the name are asking, is this Ted Washington?
What year of his career is this card
This
from?
is 1983 Donruss.
Okay. So this is near the end for him?
Yeah, he went to Atlanta.
Okay.
He died pretty young, too, after he retired. There's a great, if you go to a ball game in Pittsburgh, and the statues are awesome, and there's a great Stargell statue right by
I'm going to go to
third base.
two ball games in Pittsburgh this summer, so I look forward to spending time around the
With
grounds.
Pops.
Yes.
With Pops. Third base side. Look at this. What? I mean, this guy has let himself go. Can you not say that here?
I don't know. Didn't he kind of look like that in 1979 when they won?
Well, I don't know if he was ever svelte.
Right.
But this is an unfortunate depiction.
It is. You could have chosen a more complimentary photo. There's no question about that.
Have you got it?
It's not.
There is a gut here.
He is finishing his swing, and the bat is behind him, and the stomach is just in full. It's like
full squeeze.
The most exposed that part of his body could be in the series of photos that probably were taken.
And he's wearing white. And it's probably pretty tight. It's a baseball uniform.
Could have been a little baggier, yeah. Yeah, that's.
I mean, that's not.
Tough.
This guy's a legend. How do you do this to somebody?
Yeah.
How do you put this picture out? What do they list him at?
6'1", 235.
6'3", 225. Generous.
There's no way that man weighs 225.
Not here. Not on this.
No,
not
sirree.
on this
Not
date.
in that picture. No.
Well, National Trading Card Day.
No, sirree. Speaking of Pirates legends, Bill Mazeroski passed away over the weekend. I was lucky enough to be in Cooperstown for his Hall of Fame induction. He went in with, this would have been 01, I think, summer of 01. He went in with Winfield and Kirby Puckett, and Mazeroski got up to give his speech, had some notes prepared, and started to read from the notes and just said, I don't remember what curse word. I'm not going to use it anyway because we're on the radio.
Good,
he
yeah.
just swore, said crap or something else. I can't do this. Thank you. I love you. And he just walked off.
No speech?
No speech. He couldn't get through. He was going to get so emotional, and he was maybe embarrassed by how emotional he was feeling that he just pulled the chute on the entire speech. And everyone just immediately stood up and started cheering. It was a really incredible moment to be at.
Wow.
He just could not he just knew he wasn't going to be able to do it.
He couldn't even start.
He couldn't even he might have read a line of it and then just went, I got a recliner with my name on it. I gotta go. I'm done. Thank you. This means the world to me, but I can't do this. It was incredible.
Think I knew about that.
Considering that Dave Winfield went on for I think I'd have to check, but I think it was maybe 76 hours, Dave Winfield's speech. It was days we were standing there in this field in Cooperstown, and he just kept thanking every high school gym teacher he ever had, which, it's your moment. Okay, you want to be thorough, but holy cow.
Mazeroski might have just said, ditto.
Right?
Following Winfield.
I'm not.
Ditto. Everything he said, I agree with. I agree with. Have a good day.
I think he might have been first because he was the old timers candidate then.
The Veterans Committee.
Yeah. So I think he might have gone first. But that whole weekend. This was my buddy got married. Was getting married in late September of that year, and his wedding. It was me, and I don't think there was anyone else. I was the best man, but I was the wedding party. So planning a stag did not involve anyone but really he and I. I mean, there were other friends that could have been involved, but we ended up just choosing. He lived in New Hampshire at the time, New York City at the time. I was obviously here. We said, let's meet. We both had been to Cooperstown together a couple of different times during our friendship. We said, let's just meet in Cooperstown and we'll go to induction weekend. And it was great. To be there induction weekend, if you love baseball, especially the history of baseball, I hope it's still like this. I mean, these guys are just walking around the streets, just hanging out, signing autographs at cafes. And then to be there when they start introducing the living Hall of Famers that are there.
Pretty cool.
It was just wow. Here's Lou Brock. Here's Henry Aaron. Here's just wow. It was really, really cool. Anyway.
I almost went to one of those, and I just looked up the year, 1986. I know the year because it was Willie McCovey. And my cousins live in Massachusetts. My father's brother's family annual summer trip was either they to us or we to them in Massachusetts. And this was the drive home on the Sunday from outside of Boston. And, whosever idea it was probably something where I was always pitching to go to Cooperstown.
Yeah.
And so we decided to do it. And we got, in or around Cooperstown, and it was so crowded.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Dad, oh no.
Sorry.
It's induction day.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Oh, wow. Okay, wow.
We were not going to induction day. We were just going to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's incredible.
And it was so impossible.
Yeah, it's a scene.
We didn't go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, we had to, I think,
Plan B.
Take a shuttle bus from town to the because they have it out in the hills where the brewery is, where I can't think of the name of the brewery now. It's not going to come to me anyway. But it's just out in the field, right? It's not in town. It's 20 minutes out of town maybe, and it was there was a lot of traffic.
We had to bail.
That's incredible.
The last time I was there, I was driving that 30-foot Colton RV rig.
Oh, wow.
Through the little streets of Cooperstown. That was fun. Just found the first parking lot that was available and just parked sideways in it. What are you supposed to do? Just make it work. But yeah, Induction Day 1986. I wonder who else. I mean, I could look. Who else went in that year?
Amagang is the brewery. Sorry, it was bothering me that I wasn't going to be able to have been to concerts there. It's a good, super cool spot. Anyway, but that's where the induction is out in a field, and we just sat in the grass on a blanket, I think.
I missed McCovey, Bobby Dorr, and Ernie Lombardi. And it was still completely impassable roads.
Right.
I mean, where's Hank Aaron or somebody? I don't know. Just didn't see. It wasn't exactly a marquee list. You might have taken a Red Schoendienst in there. There was room for a Red Schoendienst. Did I bring him? I did see his card today. I don't think I brought old Red. National Trading Card Day. All right. Well, I've shown you 4 so far, right? Rick Martin, Charles de Gaulle,
Gretzky,
Wayne Gretzky, and Willie Stargell. 4 of the greats. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. Sal at 5 from Indianapolis. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go! All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life.
Both Bills head coach Joe Brady and general manager plus president of football operations Brandon Beane spoke with the media today as day number 2 of the NFL Scouting Combine got underway. We did get some news for the Bills as we are just a few weeks away from the start of free agency. The team has restructured right tackle Spencer Brown's contract, and they are expected to have freed up around $10.4 million in cap space. We'll get more on what was said today coming up in just about a half hour at 5 when Sal Capaccio joins the show. Brandon Beane, though, was not the only general manager to speak today. Falcons GM Ian Cunningham did confirm that the team is going to be releasing quarterback Kirk Cousins on the first day of the new league year. And the Falcons, they have also officially tagged tight end Kyle Pitts with the franchise tag. And speaking of that, Jets GM Darren Muji said that either the franchise or transition tag could be used on running back Breece Hall if a deal is not agreed upon by March 3rd. And then to the Sabres, no practice today, but head coach Lindy Ruff did meet with our morning show, Jeremy and Joe. If you missed any of that, you can listen back to that interview on the Odyssey app or our website, WGR550.com. And ahead of tomorrow night's game at New Jersey to get the season back underway, the Sabres have called up forward Anton Wahlberg from Rochester. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones on Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
This is year 1. It's not year 10. Look, there's been a foundation that's been set here, and it might be a little different in a sense of we understand what expectations and everything that comes with it, right? But this isn't just, hey, Joe Brady's in and everything's just his business as usual, right? And so it's important that everybody in the organization knows it, because if we continue to speak about how things used to be, then we'll never continue to go forward. And so I have so much respect for the past, but it's year 1 in organization right now.
Joe Brady today. We'll talk to Sal at 5. Does that quote message do anything for you? It's year 1. Third person reference. We always love those.
I'm going to have a hard time listening to it's year 1. I understand that for Joe Brady it is year 1. But I think you should be that sounds. I don't want to jump to conclusions. I feel like you sometimes do this, and I try to reel you in. You have taken over a team that had hit the proverbial playoff wall, as stated by the owner and the GM that decided to hire you. So it is your first year. But if you think that is going to buy you any kind of grace here, I think that's mistaken. And I don't know that that's fair, but that's the reality. Like, the expectation is going to be you were brought here, you were kept here, you were elevated, promoted to this job to help us get over the playoff wall. So year 1 sounds like, give me a little room, which is not unreasonable, but I don't think anyone's going to be of the mind to give him room. He's got to win right away.
It's also for him technically in the organization year 4.
Yeah.
Not his first year.
Like if you were going to, I think, anticipate the organization stepping back as they make this change because they're transitioning to, we've got to get more of our guys now or something. I mean, that's where Beane still being here really, really does, I think, help stabilize the situation, because there isn't a new GM going, nope, about a bunch of guys that, you probably are going to need to maintain the level of play that you've had on the field for the last, handful of years. I don't know, you're one. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm being. I don't think it's necessarily fair, but I think the reality is nobody's going to give him wiggle room to learn how to do this. The idea is you're supposed to take this team farther than they've been getting with your predecessor. That's why you made this change organizationally. There's been no talk about we're resetting, reloading, not anything. We're re-energizing is what we are to go be better than we've been. So I don't know. It's more. It feels more like year 9 of Josh Allen than year 1 of Joe Brady to me. Like that's the number that matters. So I don't have a lot of time for,
This is a beginning.
No. And your eyes had to be, and like I'm not saying they're not. I mean, all he's doing is pointing out that he's new, but your eyes had to be wide open to that fact taking this job. That the expectation, and he probably says something later on. I haven't heard it in a clip played on our show yet. About what the expectations are, but I don't know. Year one doesn't sit great with me.
The stadium can be called year 1.
That's right. That literally is true. And it literally is true that this is year 1 for him on this job.
But only in this position.
But that's it. It does not, you do not get what the new Dolphin guy is going to get. Because they're inheriting Tua Tagovailoa and a dead cap number of $90 million. That's year 1.
That's year 0.
You're right. You are starting over. You got a new GM with a new coach, and it's all clean slate. And we're going to try to dig out. We're going to take some medicine in the form of some really, really bad levels of dead money, and you start over. Okay, that's what that looks and sounds like. This is not that at all. It's year 9.
Year 0. I'm a big 0 guy.
I like year 0.
I love it for vacations when you're flying or traveling, however, the day of the trip, you're going somewhere for like a week, and you get in there, and you don't even have anything planned yet because that day is about the travel.
That's right.
That's day 0.
We are taking a trip. Have I told you we're going to Montana?
You have.
My wife and I are going to Montana.
Have I told you I'm going
in April? That's weird. And
I told you I'm going with you.
We have some. I found this is my present to her for her birthday, which was the week before Christmas. So we're going to this lodge very near the northern entrance of Yellowstone National Park and staying there for a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. We fly back Monday. Thursday, we fly there to like Bozeman, Montana is where we're flying.
Let's go.
And
so
we do not have any. I've even told her, like, I did not make any plans for we're going to be there by 2 p.m. Couldn't arrange the lodge for that day. So the lodge starts Friday. So Thursday, that's day 0. We have no attachments. We're just, we're going to be on an airplane for a few hours in the morning and then be in Bozeman, Montana with no attachments. Like, do what you want to find a place that looks cool to spend the night. You go ahead and do that. Whatever you want. I took care of everything else.
Day 0.
Rental car. We've got like a safari trip booked. It's going to be a great trip.
Oh. My ultimate day 0 is one of my favorite memories. Driving to Orlando, leaving you on a pregame show, Sabres Canucks, at 716 on a Thursday in the dead of winter, and driving alone to Orlando. Whenever I get tired, just like they say in Best in Show, if you get hungry, eat something. If you get tired, pull over. Great advice. So I get all the way to Charlotte, and it's daybreak, 5 in the morning or so. Mm-hmm. And all right, I've done really well. Driving through the mountains of West Virginia, it was like -10 out. Just fingers are crossed. Got all through it. Get to Charlotte and pull into a truck stop and just close my eyes. 20 minutes later, I woke up. Let's go.
Good to go.
I get to Orlando at like 2. 20 hours and 20 minutes. 20 hours of driving, 20 minutes of nap. I get to Orlando. My family flies in at like 9. For some reason, we were separate.
You beat them there.
I beat them by 7 hours.
Wow.
I got to my in-laws.
Did you have to go pick them up then?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
I got to my in-laws' condo. What do you want to do? Sleep? No, I want to go to Disney World to eat and have a drink. Look, let's go. It's my father-in-law's favorite thing, too. Mm-hmm. So the three of us go to Citrico's. You know it. This great restaurant. Just like 3 o'clock.
Is it near the Finding Nemo ride?
No, that's funny. No, that's Epcot. We go to Citrico's. If you know it, raise your hand. 3:30 in the afternoon. I feel great. I mean, I'm there. Mm-hmm. It's day 0, baby.
Right.
This is the best.
Yep.
And we're there for maybe 3 hours and start to drive back to the condo, and the flight's going to arrive like 8:30 or 9 o'clock. And my mother-in-law says, you know what? You've had a long day. I'll pick them up.
Oh.
So I go to bed at like 8. She goes to the airport. I wake up 8 in the morning, 12 hours of sleep. They're all in the bed. This is a while ago. The kids were pretty little. They're all in the bed.
That is tremendous.
And I never even knew any of it was happening. Like I was so tired.
Wow.
That I slept through their arrival and everything else. However, was there crying? Was there unpacking? We need another pillow? I don't even know.
Was there, my mother-in-law couldn't find where they were coming out of the airport or any of the, right? Nope. All good.
And then began day one. At that moment, when we woke up at 8 in the morning the next day, that's day one. Day zero is everything else.
When we went to Puerto Rico last spring, my wife and I went on a Friday, and everyone else didn't arrive until Sunday. Does that mean I had two?
Day minus one?
I had like did I have 2 day zeros or day minus one?
I think you got to go into the negatives.
My wife and I, we had made arrangements for us to be, we knew we were going to be alone, but we weren't we rented a big house up in the hills out about, half an hour outside of San Jose, or San Juan, excuse me. And, but we weren't in that house on Friday and Saturday. We didn't get in that house until Sunday morning. So my wife and I spent 2 days in San Juan, and then we had to go pick everybody else up at the airport. Well, no, we had to pick up our kids.
Look, college football does this.
Yeah. So
week 0.
I had like 2 bonus days in Puerto Rico with my wife, which were great.
A smart person probably would tell you, don't think of it this way. Always be in the moment. And if you're counting an entire day or two as pre-moment, maybe you're not getting the whole experience.
Yeah.
I think maybe a smart person would tell you that. But I don't know. I love day zero. I love that story. Listening to Baseball Prospectus preview pods the entire way down and back.
Yeah.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Sal at 5. This is WGR. Welcome back. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Sal Capaccio in about 15 minutes from the Combine in Indianapolis. Here is Denny next. Hello, Denny.
Hey, how you doing? I
Good.
actually listened to you guys earlier. I love your show, by the way.
Thank you.
So I appreciate you guys. It's actually the best way to end the day on the ride home. So listen, personally, I wanted them to go after Sean Payton. I talked to Sal about this a couple weeks ago. I wanted them to go after Harbaugh. I wanted them to go after Ben Johnson. They didn't. So they got a newer coach. I don't think that's going to work with A.J. Brown. Don't forget, with a coach who actually won a Super Bowl, he was reading a book on the sidelines. I like the Mike Evans idea. I just think that injuries, he's later in his career, but I honestly think they should take a chance. This is the time. And go after Hairston Jr. That's my personal opinion. I think that they give up a first rounder, maybe a second rounder. They can probably get him. They can gel. I think he'd actually fit in well. And you know what? He was just drafted by the wrong team. I hate to say it, but I mean, if you put him in this environment, I actually think he could thrive in this offense, and I think they'll have a shot. That's who I would go after. It's either that or they can trade up, but they would have to give up like a highway ransom to get Carnell Tate. So that's not going to happen. He's kind of like a JSN. But I would go after Hairston Jr. and roll the dice and see what happens.
I still fail to understand why Arizona would trade Marvin Harrison Jr. 2 years after drafting him so high. The quarterback situation is pretty rough, and I think if I were Arizona, it sounds like they want to get out of that with Murray. I mean, I'm not trading Harrison for anything, but I don't know. Maybe they would.
The question, I think if he were about to get paid a second contract, which I guess, after year 3 is when you can do that, and you're nowhere at quarterback, like, that would be some motivation because you're not really matched up, right? You don't want to pay a receiver, whatever, the going top of the market rate on a deal if you don't have quarterback solidified. This is a little bit where Minnesota is now with J.J. McCarthy. Like, they, decided to start over with him and even divest themselves of Darnold, who had a great year for them last year. But we're going to go with J.J. McCarthy. And in the meantime, they paid Justin Jefferson. But now they're not exactly stuck, but they don't have quarterback solved, and they have one of the highest paid receivers on their team because he's one of the best. But does that make sense? Does that line up? It's one of the reasons why I thought before they signed him, it would be possible to talk to them the way the caller's suggesting Harrison Jr. So I don't want to just blow it off completely, because if you're nowhere at quarterback and the clock starts ticking on, you got to pay this guy, that might not line up for you organizationally. I wonder if Minnesota regrets at all that they made the commitment to Justin Jefferson. He's a great player and a model citizen, like a great dude, but is it worth it? This is going to be, is this the first year of the extension? I don't know the timing of Jefferson's deal, but right now they don't have an answer at quarterback that they can really count on. They may internally believe we're going to move forward with J.J. McCarthy. That's far from a sure thing. So the same logic, I think, works on a player like Marvin Harrison Jr. But I would still bet against them doing it, but the motivation could be there if they think they're really in tough at quarterback.
I suppose. It would shock me. National Trading Card Day. Want another one?
Sure.
Here is a young buck of a quarterback who had a pretty good career, since retired. Drew Brees, holding it up to the cameras for those who watch on YouTube every day, just today.
Speaking of Sean Payton.
Okay. Drew Brees as a Charger. I was texting with Sneaky Joe today how Josh Allen has never won an overtime game.
Mm-hmm.
You know his record? 0-7.
Okay.
How many overtime games did Brees win?
I'm going to guess 0.
14.
Okay. You really got me there.
It's the record.
You did a good job.
14 is the record. Brady won 12, playoffs included. Allen has 3.
How many did he lose?
I don't know.
Okay.
Brady lost 4. Brady went 12-4 in overtime in his career. 1-0 against Buffalo.
I'm pretty sure the Patriots cheated, though. But anyway, go ahead.
I don't know about the Saints. Would you say that about the Saints? 14. Now, he played a long time. Allen's only just turning 30. But 14 overtime wins. Allen 0-7 and 0-3 in the playoffs.
Right. Houston, Kansas City in the 13 seconds game, and this year.
Yeah. Peyton Manning lost 3 overtime games in the playoffs as well. And also would have had at least one where they didn't get the ball. That was a talking point. I think they had a playoff loss in San Diego. And
that sounds right to me.
They didn't get the ball, and we talked about whether that was fair. That's 13 seconds. It's not Denver.
No.
It's not even Houston.
No, that's right. That's right. They had their chances in both of those games.
Allen's numbers in overtime. Joe sent them to me for his career. Ready? Are you sitting down?
Oof. I don't think I want to hear this.
11 for 26, 85 yards, 2 picks. Playoffs and regular season.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's rough.
That would be something cool for Brady to do in his first year.
Win a single
overtime game,
yeah.
Which the Bills have not done since that snow game against the Colts when Joe Webb, it's probably Peterman, to start, and then
it was.
The game was pretty stupid, but
they
haven't won an overtime game since. Sal Capaccio from Indianapolis next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, thanks for listening. This is WGR.
Buffalo Bills head coach Joe Brady and Bills GM and President of Football Operations Brandon Beane both spoke with the media earlier today at the NFL Scouting Combine as Day 2 got underway, and we did get some news from Beane regarding the Bills as they have restructured right tackle Spencer Brown's contract and have now freed up around $10.4 million in cap. Do stay tuned. We'll get more on what was said today as Sal Capaccio will join the show next. Some other news from the NFL today. Falcons GM Ian Cunningham did confirm that the team is going to be releasing quarterback Kirk Cousins on the first day of the new league year. The Falcons have also officially tagged tight end Kyle Pitts with the franchise tag. And then Jets general manager Darren Muji said that either the franchise or transition tag could be used on running back Breece Hall if a deal is not agreed upon by March 3rd. For the Sabres, no practice today. Head coach Lindy Ruff, however, was with our morning show earlier today, Jeremy and Joe. If you did miss that and you want to listen back, you can do so over on the Odyssey app or our website, WGR550.com. And then we did get some roster news ahead of tomorrow night's matchup at New Jersey to get the season back underway. The Sabres have recalled forward Anton Wahlberg from Rochester. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones on Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
National Trading Card Day. We're all celebrating. I've got a little show and tell going on throughout the show. For those of you who can see us on YouTube and Twitch, it's all free to do that if you want. I bet Sal can relate to this one. I'm not sure I've ever talked to Sal about card collecting. And we will not only talk about card collecting, I promise. But one of my memories of making a trade with cards is in 1984, trading Don Mattingly for Darryl Strawberry because I was a Mets fan. And for a while, that was a very bad trade, you know, in terms of like when the magazines come out and you see the current prices. Mattingly was pretty hot. Strawberry was not really. But, yeah, I know the guy's name that I made the trade with, Paul Mutolo. And he was older than me, and he talked me into it, and I'm like, fine, I want Strawberry. And I don't know. I guess I should be okay with it.
That doesn't seem like a one-sided trade.
It kind of was, though.
Yeah?
84 Donruss, Bulldog, I believe.
No. Okay.
Sal, were you a card kid?
You lost a lot of us there.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. You know, I mean, I definitely was a big collector. The junk wax era, though, right? I mean, like the late 80s, early 90s, I still have tons and tons of cards. And, you know, for a long time, though, I didn't collect. But my son is heavily, heavily into it, guys. I don't know if you know that, but he is really into it. Like, literally, he just sent off, of his own money, my 12-year-old son spent over $500 of his own money to send off 10 cards to PSA to get graded last month. And we were monitoring, like, where they are now, the graded. And he's like, yeah, he thinks he's going to, you know, get several cards back that are worth at least that much. You know what I mean? He has a really extensive collection. We go to card shows and places a lot. You know what I love about it? He's 12 years old and he really follows it. He studies it. He knows it. It used to be where I would go, don't get taken advantage of. I got to walk around with you. And I'm like, oh no, I'll be taken advantage of. You go do your thing and see, you know, I'll meet you later.
Yes, I did know that about your son, that he was pretty into it, not to the extent that he was sending to PSA. Well, I've got those a file of those memories too. We're pretty mixed, but you know that's cool. I'll be eager to know how that turns out for him. I'm always here for the results of a PSA order. It's always kind of exciting to find out.
We did it with somebody who is a breaker. You know, they do the breaking now online, and we did it with somebody, and he helped us. Like the first time we did it last summer, and then Max said, I really want to do it on my own. So he went and grabbed a whole bunch of cards, and he had money, ironically, from going to another card show where he went off on his own. He comes back with like $500 cash and said, I traded this and I sold this. And I'm like, okay, if you're okay with it, I guess let's roll.
Wow. Wheeler dealer.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right. So Indianapolis today, Brandon Beane, Joe Brady. Which was more interesting of the two?
It's a good question. I don't think either of them had anything that was like super groundbreaking or interesting. I guess I would say Joe Brady, just because he's still newer to a lot of us, to hear him in this role, to hear him talk about, the different things that are going into this role and being in defensive meetings for the first time. A lot of the Brandon Beane stuff is kind of the same stuff we've heard for many years. It's just in a different form. This is really the first time we've heard from Joe Brady in this type of setting because, as he said many times, it's year one. That's like the theme of Joe Brady today, year one. It's year one. And he was kind of sort of pressed on it a little bit, not necessarily in a negative way, guys, though, but basically, hey, it's year one for you, but when you say that, what fans are thinking, wait a minute, what do you mean? We're not rebuilding here, and, this team with the expectations, and he understood that from that standpoint. I think his basic point was that he tried to get across was, hey, everything is new. A lot of things are going to change. It's year one of me doing this here, but he understands the expectations that go along with him being in this role for the first year.
Yeah, we talked quite a bit about this in the last half an hour or so.
Okay.
And, I don't think anyone, I want to make sure you hear me say this, and I want to say it again for everybody. Like, I don't think it's entirely fair, but I don't think anyone's going to give Joe Brady year one, right? It's you said it. Like, the idea here is to get over the proverbial playoff wall. So if that's the goal of the organization, if that's the impetus for making the change, you don't get any leeway for year one, like ramping up and like let's see how it goes kind of thing. Like the expectation is to go win 12 games again, I think.
And I agree. I think that's their expectation too. I think their standard is that they need to be at least back to where they were and further, because that is the reason that they made the change. But so I don't think he was coming in from a standpoint of it's year one of a program I'm building here. I think it was more of, hey, there's a lot of things different here. You guys had this same coach here for 9 years. There were a lot of things that happened that everybody's very familiar with. I mean, even so much so that like some of us media, colleagues, we were talking and thinking, for 9 years, we've had the same practice schedule. I would go out there on Wednesday for 9 years and see Sean McDermott in press conference at noon, and the Bills would practice at 12:30. I'd go on with you guys at 4 o'clock to talk about it. That might look different for all we know. This is year one of a totally different type of way of doing things. I think that's where Joe Brady wanted to land with that, because honestly, like, off to the side, we were all talking a little bit, and when he kind of found out that we were talking about the year one stuff, he even got a little like, well, I don't want it to sound like that. That's not really what I wanted to really come out from this. It's year one of him doing it, something totally different here that we've been used to.
I guess other than for our purposes with you, I don't really care when they practice. I just hope they wouldn't do a thing like the Sabres scheduling practice Sunday during the gold medal game. Hopefully Brady would be above doing that. But they had a 10:30 practice on Sunday. You don't get to a 10:30 practice at 10:30. And I found that astonishing. Okay, so are we into these kind of defensive meetings yet? Like, what's happened so far with, it being the offseason, Sal? What do we think or know that Brady has been up to in his first few weeks?
Yeah, he's been inside defensive meetings, and that's been a big change for him. He said, one of the things that's kind of happened along the way is he's never had to go inside defensive meetings and peek in, and the biggest reason he's doing it is because he wants to learn the language, as he said. He wants to learn what Jim Leonhard is teaching. What does the defensive scheme look like? What is Jim Leonhard teaching over there? He said, I think the way he put it was something like, I don't want to be, late in the game and the game's on the line and Jim Leonhard's talking about things that I don't know what's going on. He's calling a defense, but he basically said, like, I want Jim to be able to call the defense and do what he needs to do, but he wants to understand what's happening out there. And it's just so interesting for me to think of it that way, because I think what's happening here is, and you guys would probably agree with how this is sounding and even how it looked from the beginning. We all know Joe Brady's an offensive coach, and he's kind of just going to let the defense be run by Jim Leonhard. He's making it clear like that. He's saying he just wants to know what's happening there. He wants to be able to talk the language. This is not an area of expertise for him. But to his credit, he understands it's not an area of expertise for him. I've said many times, you could have coaches that come from offense or defense or special teams. A leader is a leader. It doesn't matter. You got to lead a bunch of men. Well, Joe Brady's got to lead everybody here. He's got to lead the 53-man roster. It doesn't matter what position you play, and he understands that, but he also understands his limitations, that he's not a guy that's going to be telling Jim Leonhard how they need to play on defense.
Yeah, no, so how much did we get as far as information on what kind of personnel they may need? I did see some reference, but I've not heard the entirety of the comments that were provided. But that maybe Brady feels like they've got more people internally left over on defense than maybe I've thought looking at their roster. What can you fill that out for us?
Yeah, and I think that too. I think he thinks it, and I think when you look at the roster, it doesn't have to be, and the other day I said overhaul, it doesn't have to be a complete change of personnel. I do think it will be a bit of an overhaul in how they approach defense, their philosophies, and you will have some guys that kind of have to fit into maybe a space where they didn't fit before. But, let's go back to what Jim Leonhard said when he was introduced as the defensive coordinator, and I asked him specifically, hey, how much have defenses changed over the years since going from a straight 4-3 to a 3-4 versus now, and he used the word fluid. Everything's fluid now, and he's right. He said, yes, that's right. Like, you want positionless players. And I think that Joe Brady feels they have some positionless players. They have guys that can kind of fit different places around the board if they want to do that. It's not a straight 4-3. I'll give you one that was interesting today, though, and this comes from Brandon Beane, actually. I thought I got a good clue here. So he was asked, like this, Bulldog, he was asked the same kind of question about defensive personnel, right, and how these guys fit. Brandon Beane brought up a name that no one's really talked about. He said Javon Solomon. He said, when they drafted Javon Solomon, they thought maybe he was actually better suited for a 3-4 defensive end, but they really liked him, and, he plays 4-3. So now suddenly I'm thinking, what does this tell me? Javon Solomon's a part of this team next year, and they probably got some plans for Javon Solomon on this team. These are the things we're going to start to learn about some of these guys.
Well, I like the sound of that with Solomon as an idea. We talked a little bit last week, Sal, while you were away, about what styles of players. We were talking with Cody Carpentier one day. We talked to Chris Trapasso, who we'll do again tomorrow at 4 o'clock from Indy at the Combine, and how the Bills have mostly drafted. Solomon's the exception, right? Their edge guys have been Rousseau, Epinesa, even Bosa as a free agent. Miller's an exception, but the guys they've drafted are a certain type. Even Boogie Basham was a bigger, longer guy, right? And you've seen, I think, that position specifically has become less dependent on a body type, and it's mostly just explosion. How quickly can a guy win and get to the quarterback? And I mentioned Denver as an example with Benito. That's not a guy that's big and long. He's explosive, and Solomon is kind of that body type.
And I like Javon Solomon coming out of college, he was the guy that that draft class, when I would be asked, which guy are you excited about? That would be the first guy for me, because I believe that when you can get to the quarterback in college, you generally are able to do it at the NFL level. Maybe not to the elite status, but he was such a good pass rusher in college, and he went to a college where he broke a lot of records from other players that were there that were very good. And I think that he is the kind of guy, to me, that should be able to translate to getting to the quarterback. But yeah, maybe the scheme wasn't the best fit for him, and maybe now he'll be in a position where he can do that a little bit more. So we'll see. He was a guy last year, I think, that a lot of people felt, what is he really doing? Does he belong in this roster? Well, I think from Brandon Beane's answer today, he's going to be on this roster, and we'll see. And I agree with you 100%, Bulldog. They have kind of drafted the archetype, a certain archetype at defensive end. He is not specifically that archetype. Speaking of that, though, Brandon Beane was asked about nose tackle and, about Ed Oliver, and, that they feel that Ed Oliver can play. He can still play in this defense. It doesn't have to be a traditional nose of a big 300-pounder, obviously. He's not that guy. But those are guys that they have confidence, I think, back to your original point, they can still play in this defense, but it might not be in a traditional, this is what we thought a 3-4 would look like.
With Sal Capaccio, he's in Indianapolis. The NFL Combine is this week. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Thanks for being with us today. So there's a Spencer Brown contract restructuring today. What are the effects?
The Bills save $10.4 million or so on a Spencer Brown restructure. So you move some of his roster bonus. I think it's he had a base salary and a roster bonus, so you could move that into a signing bonus. So now you can spread it out over the next several years. Remember, he just signed a contract extension last year, so there were more years to add, to spread it out for this year. It made it easier for a guy like that. He was always one of those kind of easier levers that they could pull, so that brings them very close to being cap compliant. However, I did ask Brandon Beane specifically, are you cap compliant now? He said they don't know the official number yet. There was a meeting today. As you guys know, there's so many different kinds of meetings going on with the league right now here, safety, health and safety, and then, financials. And he said there was a financial meeting basically with the league. He said they might have come up with a number, but he didn't know at the time. So he can't say for sure there, but the answer tells me they're pretty darn close if they're not under yet.
Okay.
What else? I'm sorry to jump around on you here like this, but defensive personnel wise, I mentioned to Mike, we haven't talked about it on the air, but I saw a tweet from you about Taron Johnson and what his future might be, because that's a player, with the defensive changes here, with Jim Leonard taking over, how prominent is the nickel going to be, right? Do you want to maybe consider they do need a safety? And what did Bean say when that was posed to him today?
It's really good that you phrased it that way about how prominent will the nickel be, because Bean actually kind of said that himself in the answer. The question was, would Taron Johnson moving to safety be a consideration? This has been something people have talked about. I don't personally see it as a necessary fit, as a fit, but maybe it's a guy they don't really want to lose. They really love his skill set. You could have, remember, they do have Cam Lewis and Taron as a nickel and safety both. Now, Cam is a free agent, see with him, but my point is they like these guys with versatility. So maybe it's a guy you don't want to live with, cutting him his cap number. He's been so good for you. How do we figure it out? Then he brought up, Brandon Bean, about, he has played so much nickel. He's really been like a will linebacker over the last several years, because they don't use an extra linebacker. As you guys know, they use a nickel, and he's on the field so much that he's had to play like a linebacker, playing all those snaps in the box and taking a beating. And then he brought up maybe that's not the case anymore in Jim Leonard's defense, how many linebackers he wants to use. So that's a consideration to start talking about. Now, there's two things to consider there. Number one, you take a lot off Taron Johnson's body, which is great. But number two, you're paying him a lot of money then to be a part-time player, right? I mean, and that's something you don't necessarily want to do. So maybe how do you prolong the life of that, of a player you like? Well, is playing safety a consideration? Because right now it looks like Cole Bishop is really the guy. I don't know for sure they're going to cut Taylor Rapp. It feels like that's the case. But maybe Taron Johnson's a guy who could slot back there. And his answer was interesting to me, because he said nothing is off the table. He said he's a good football player, and after a couple of weeks with Jim Leonard, if that's what's best for the defense, they'll take a look at it. I still have my reservations that they would do something like that. But, hey, I understand. I mean, when you have a guy that you like, you don't want to move on from, he's not going to be on the field that much. He's making a lot of money. Maybe you find a way for him to be on the field more.
And you have a need. Yeah, I mean,
you have a need. That's exactly right.
They have the need.
And Bulldog, let me bring this up. He also talked about Cole Bishop, which, gone are the days of, as you guys know, there's no more free and strong safety like when we all grew up, right? We don't do that anymore. Nobody does that anymore. Safeties are very interchangeable these days. Now, not all safeties are super interchangeable. Sometimes you have guys who are just better in the box and guys are free. They view Cole Bishop as a very interchangeable part. Like, Cole Bishop can do different things. And I think from Brandon Bean's answer today, I think that gives them a lot of options of what they want to do at safety. They don't have to go look for a specific type of safety. If they feel like they can maybe if they feel Taron Johnson has a certain skill set that does translate to safety, you can live with it, because Cole Bishop can do the other part of that. They don't have to go, no, we need a more physical guy. We need a faster guy.
Right.
And I think that at least opens that possibility a little bit more.
And it would stand to reason that they would at least have some comfortability. You mentioned already, Bean said he is basically playing like nickel linebacker, playing near the line of scrimmage, right? I mean, provided you can trust him to get up to speed playing center field at times so that they can be interchangeable, because that's ideal, right? That's where you want to live, I think. I think almost any team would tell you that, because you don't want to limit Bishop to just playing center field either. Right? He's made plays up close to the line of scrimmage this past season as well as he was emerging. I'm always intrigued. I'm a sucker for, like, as much as I hate the, like, why don't we just make Rasmus Ristolainen into a winger conversation we used to have. With
they should have.
With DBs, because Rod Woodson existed and played corner at an all-pro level, and then later in his career transitioned to playing safety, I just think like that feels. I remember bringing this up to you when Trey White was coming off the second injury. I was like, is there maybe a time to maybe consider putting him back there? Could he do that? So I'm always eager for that kind of development. So I'm entirely here for Taron Johnson, the possibility at least being on the table.
They have had discussions with Taron Johnson, about his role, his future. Jim Leonard's had discussions, and, we'll see where that goes. They have a couple weeks left to, figure a lot of this out. March 9th, obviously, is when he could start talking to players, but March 11th is when you have to be under the salary cap. And if you're going to do it, if you're going to move on from him, you're probably doing it then. Even if it's a post-June 1 cut, you would do it at that time and save the money a little bit later. And if he's still on the roster after that time, sure, you could wind up moving on from him, but that probably gives you a little clue about, what they're thinking about Taron Johnson. There were a couple other updates. I asked Brandon Beane about injuries, guys recovering from injury. He said Tyler Bass, out of the three I'll give you, Tyler Bass, Landon Jackson, and Michael Hoyt. He said Tyler Bass is the closest to returning, but he didn't want to give a date on any of them. Now, Michael Hoyt posted something, I believe, on social media indicating something about July 1st. But that's from the player, right? The player is always going to be ambitious. Right. I totally get that. And that'd be great if he is. And, hey, July 1st pretty early. If he's ready by August 1st, I think it's good, to be honest with you. But he did say to me, Brandon Beane, that Tyler Bass is the closest of those three. And he's another guy that you look at his cap number and you know that he didn't kick last year, and it's kind of, you wonder kind of where he is right now. Landon Jackson's a guy in his second year. Where is his fit in this defense once he is healthy with what's going on? So there's a lot of things up in the air, and we know Michael Hoyt's a big part of what they want to do. He's gonna be a chess piece. They called him that today, but we'll see how healthy he is coming back. You also mentioned, by the way, Tre'Davious White. I asked about Tre'Davious White because of Max Harrison's injury. Tre'Davious White played really well last year. And, Brandon Beane obviously said they love Tre'Davious White. His year last year was a very good year. We'll see. They'll see where it goes with him. I wouldn't be stunned if they bring back Tre'Davious White. I just don't think you could do it for maybe $6 million they gave him last year, up to $8 million or something like that, knowing that they have Max Harrison now, and when he was on the field, he was very good last year.
I've got one more money question. No, Bulldog, they didn't need to turn Ristolainen into a winger. They needed to turn him into a Winnipeg Jet about 8 years ago. That's what they needed to do.
That's right.
That's where they got. That's where they went wrong.
Watch what contender goes and gets him from Philadelphia. I've already seen reference to his performance in the Olympics has got teams interested in him as a trade deadline ad. Just saying.
They couldn't stop raving about him on NBC. They're just sort of typical, right? Sal, my last question is, so we were talking about Mike Evans earlier, and I don't know what kind of money that looks like ultimately. Huge, though, probably short term. If he ends up leaving Tampa, is there a level of contract? Let's leave the quarterbacks out of it because the Bills aren't going to dabble with Kyler Murray or somebody like that. Is there a level at which they're priced out because of their cap stuff, or is there no such thing?
If the right player is available, there's no level of being priced out. They will find a way to do it. There are always levers to pull. There are always guys that you could, release, whatever. If there's a guy they want that badly, they would find a way to be able to get him. If he, you could work out whatever it's compensation or whatever, obviously it could be a barrier, something like that for a trade. But free agency, that could happen. I do think, though, the Bills generally try to act, I think, responsibly in the fact of, and maybe too responsibly sometimes, which is why they don't have some of these elite players. I guess you could make the argument that they've needed over the last few years, which is they don't want to cripple themselves to be able to make moves maybe later in the year or the following year or something like that by maybe pulling some of those levers or by giving the guy too much money or whatever it is. So I think they could be priced out in that regard, Mike. But if it's a guy that they really want, the Bills will find a way to sign him. They did it with Joey Bosa. They did it with Von Miller. And they would find a way to do it.
Okay. Eager to hear tomorrow what tonight is like. And make sure, though, whatever you do, you can get to Starbucks in the morning in time to see if Ian Rappaport gets confronted again.
Was that Jordan Schultz last year? Is that what that was?
It was. Yeah, that is over at High Velocity. Remember, we talked about this last year, right? High Velocity is the meeting place. And that's over at the JW Marriott. And I'm sure tonight, after we have a bit of a media colleague dinner going on tonight, so a bunch of us who cover the team will be together tonight, and then maybe we'll make our way over to High Velocity and see if there's any action. And if not, maybe I'll stay overnight, sleep on one of the benches there, and see if something happens at the Starbucks there.
Right.
When I hear about something like that, my mind immediately goes to credit card roulette. But you don't need to do that because everybody's probably paid for, right? Everybody's on an expense account on this trip. All your media friends and yourself.
So is this going to be like shrimps the size of my fist? Then is that what tonight is?
Yeah. So last night was a bit like that. I went over to the famed St. Elmo's last night, and I got the shrimp cocktail. Now, I posted a picture on Instagram, and I'm telling you guys, the cocktail was so thick it buried the shrimp. There were 3 huge pieces of shrimp. You couldn't see them. But the cocktail sauce was that kind of it really cleans your sinuses, right? I mean, that's what they're famous for.
The best.
Now, tonight, right next door is called Harry and Izzy's. Harry and Izzy's is owned by the same company of St. Elmo. So the shrimp cocktail is also very, very good. And yes, it'll be like one of those nights. We'll get a little bit of that, and then I tell you guys, the steakhouses here are incredible, and that's basically a steakhouse, and you get a lot of good menus around here, I'd say.
Right.
Any limitation on what you can do? Can I ask you that? What is our company? Where does our company set the line for this?
Oh, there are limitations. Yes.
Really? I believe it.
Sure. Hey, listen, I have done this before. Like I'll say right in the air. Like I've gone out and I've had more expensive dinners, but I try to be responsible for our company and people that that are willing to send me these things. And what I'll do is I'll say to the server, hey, could you give me 2 bills? I'll divide up, what I had an appetizer or a couple drinks or something like that, just to make it more palpable.
Not put as much on the company. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'll put more on my own dime and say, look, I went out and I did this, and I'm not going to splurge like that. So, yeah, I try to make it. My goal is to not come back and hand in a bunch of receipts and expenses to our bosses where they say you're not going next year. That's my goal.
That's completely
smart.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Sal.
You got it, guys.
There you go. That's our dude Sal Capaccio live in Indianapolis. His reports are always brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Not everybody is a drinker. I don't know Sal to be much of a drinker, but if you're at this thing and the rule is no booze,
yeah, I'll get my own. I'm going to get my own bill.
You kind of have to.
I would. Yeah.
If you're like me, you would just have to.
Yeah. Even if it's an early morning the next day or whatever, if I'm going to that place with like one of those like dry aged tomahawk steaks or something, I'm going to want at least 1 glass of red wine, right? Just at least that. So you got to make some room for it there. Yeah.
It's part of the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
He tells his boss on his last day at the job. It was part of the experience. Hey, come back. I'll learn. I'll be better.
We took turns all year buying $100 bottles of wine. It was my turn.
My fob doesn't work anymore. Right. All right, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. Back after sports. This is WGR.
With General Manager and President of Football Operations Brandon Beane spoke with the media earlier today as day number 2 of the NFL Scouting Combine got underway. We did get some news on the Bills from Beane as he confirmed the team has restructured right tackle Spencer Brown's contract and is now freed up around $10.4 million in cap. For more on this, Sal Capaccio has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. It is not the only news we got today around the NFL. Falcons GM Ian Cunningham confirmed today the team is going to be releasing quarterback Kirk Cousins on the first day of the new league year. The Falcons, they've also officially franchise tag tight end Kyle Pitts. Broncos offensive coordinator Davis Webb is expected to call plays this year. That according to head coach Sean Payton. And the 49ers and left tackle Trent Williams could be heading towards a breakup as the two sides reportedly are struggling to come to a solution with Williams' contract as he carries a $39 million cap hit this year. If there cannot be a solution found, it is expected that Williams will be released. And then for the Sabres, no practice today, but Sabres head coach Lindy Ruff did speak with our morning show, Jeremy and Joe, earlier today. If you missed that, you can find it on the Odyssey app or our website, WGR550.com. And ahead of tomorrow night's game, the team has called up forward Anton Wahlberg from Rochester. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones on Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
One of my downfalls is I probably get a little aggressive, and I know that, and I try to put people around me to strap me down to the desk, and if they think I'm getting out of line, to at least grab me before I do it and say, are you sure about this? Because it's going to cost us your third round or whatever pick it's going to cost us.
Brandon Beane today, is he thinking of anything specifically when he says that about himself? I mean, I'm sure he doesn't mean literally they strap him down. I'm not saying that. But does he then just say, okay, you're right? Is he thinking about Amari Cooper? I don't know. Benjamin? Third-round picks I'm thinking of.
Right. Well, yeah.
Where is he spending his third-round picks?
He's talking about the draft, though, right? Mostly? Or no? I'm sorry if I missed the context there. I think he's talking about draft day, like being aggressive, like moving up.
Okay. Well, there's that, too.
Yeah. More than, like, what he paid for players in season.
Okay. Does he mean it when he says it's one of my downfalls? Is he being self-effacing, or is he really saying I shouldn't do it? I don't know. Like, I don't love trading up. The Bills have done plenty of it. They've also traded down. They're not one-way traffic, but to me, that's usually a bad play. Is he kind of saying, yeah, you're right? Or is he just kind of saying, I know I'm not perfect. Here's some example of how I'm self-aware.
I feel like it's more that.
Just to say something
like it. To me, it sounds like, I'll do it again. Just say, I sort of expect that he'll do it again. I don't know when. Will it be this year? I don't know. Maybe that depends as far as the draft goes, right? There's also the trade market now before the draft. But if they don't get what they feel they need or want in free agency, or trade, whatever. If the spring, one way or the other, the trade market or the free agent market does not get them the receiver, let's just focus on that because that's on brand. They don't get the guy they need there, then full speed ahead? I'm going to make sure I get the second guy or something. Like, am I going to go up to the top 12 or something to try to make sure I can get Jordan Tyson or Mekhi Lemon or somebody, like someone who's more of can't miss status than the guy you might be drafting if you just stay put at 26 or even move back like they did 2 years ago to draft Keon Coleman, the first pick of the second round. I wonder, all of that probably goes into the stew. How aggressive they'll be at the draft could be impacted by what they're able to do to the roster between now and, the end of April.
803-0550 to reach us. We've been talking mostly about the Bills today, a little bit on the U.S. Olympic team. The Sabres season resumes tomorrow night in New Jersey. We don't know if Tage Thompson or, for that matter, Jack Hughes will be present at the game, or at least I don't. but nothing's been reported that they will be playing yet.
Right.
We think they're both probably in Washington.
They both
the
are.
night.
Yeah. In fact, there's a list of 5 guys that left the group. And I checked the schedule, and they all make sense. There's an Anaheim defenseman who I don't think even played in the tournament. They play at home tomorrow night, California. So, okay, he's not going to Washington. Gensel, I already mentioned. I don't know logistically how challenging it would have been, but they were in Florida to begin with, and he's on Tampa, and they play at home tomorrow. So, I don't need to go to Washington and back. I'm going to just stay in Tampa. A couple other guys. Kyle Connor, home game for Winnipeg tomorrow night. And I forget the couple of others. But they all are playing the next night. Someone on Colorado is playing in Utah tomorrow night. And I'm trying to remember who that would have been. Oh, Brock Nelson is one of the 5. I don't know. Did I say 5 names there? There might be one I'm missing. Jake Ottinger, Dallas, home game, Texas, tomorrow night as well. So that means Tage Thompson is, I think, in Washington.
Matthews plays in that same game in Tampa tomorrow night as Gensel.
Yep.
Toronto versus Tampa Bay. I'm glad we were able to run that down. My focus is more on the rules changes for the UFL that were announced today.
I see, yeah. You're going to get into the UFL fantasy space this spring?
Again?
Is that what's going to happen?
I'm saying again, but it actually is true. It would be again.
That did happen, yes.
That did happen once. It was not natural. It did not come easy to me to follow the league. I had no interest, really. Like the year I did Australian rules. I have a friend who got me into an Australian rules fantasy league.
Yeah.
And I won a draw to pick first. And I drafted the obvious name, Brody Grundy. I'm like, all right, well, maybe I'll actually do well at this because I've got the best player. I've got the Sidney Crosby of Australian rules football in Brody Grundy. The name's almost the same. And he was good, but I didn't cash.
Yeah.
I just didn't follow it.
Right. I so remember this. It's a little bit of a line of demarcation. Right before, late February, mid-February, I don't remember when it was, of 20, John Gale and I took a road trip to go see Nichols play in Indiana somewhere. Culver Military Academy, maybe it was. I hope that lines up. I think that's the school that's in Indiana. Whatever. Went to Indiana. And we left real early and got there to 2 in the afternoon. The game isn't until 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock that night. And so we're checked into some hotel in Indiana. And, there's spring football. I don't know if it was called the UFL then. It might have been the rebranding of the XFL. Did that happen around then? I can't remember. It was spring football. Okay, well, let's just try it out. I'm going to watch some spring football. I never watched it again. I was captive in this motel room in Indiana with really nothing else to do until, a prep school hockey game in 5 hours. All right, hey, let's try on some of this new football.
Doesn't stick.
Never again.
It doesn't stick.
I never again thought, where's the new football?
Well, they banned the tush push. You'll be happy to know.
Oh, well, thank God for that.
I think a league like the UFL necessarily makes rules changes to get in the news cycle.
Yes. For sure. Yes.
Here's what we're doing. It's a long list today of rules changes that I'm reading. One is you're not allowed to punt across the 50.
I did read about that today, too.
Why do you have to tell people that? Why do you need to make a rule for that? How do they not know that already? No punting from across the 50. You're allowed to punt the ball over the 50. You just can't punt from across the 50.
If it's at the 49.5-yard line of your opponent,
no punting.
Cannot punt.
Yeah. 60-plus yard field goals are worth 4 points. So we want to further incentivize 60-yard field goal attempts? That's what the fans want?
So that I can kick from across the 50, from my side of the 50, apparently. Because you
could even kick it from the other side.
But if you're kicking a 60-yard field goal, you have to be at least at the 50-yard line.
No, it would be the plus 43 to kick a 60-yard field goal. Oh,
that's right, the 7 yards.
Unless UFL goalposts are in the middle of the end zone or something.
Yeah.
If they're the same goalposts.
Sorry, I was just
add 17.
Trying to be cute with the punting and the kicking and
Sometimes it's 18.
Yeah, I know. I don't really understand that.
This is where, though, it gets wonky. Point after touchdown options. Kick the ball from the 33, so like a 40-yard kick is worth 1. Put the ball on the 2-yard line and score, that's worth 2. Put the ball on the 8-yard line and score, that's worth 3. I mean, check, please. You can overdo it.
But you're right about getting in the news cycle, and they probably, to some degree, are motivated to find things that will appeal to fans who are mad about other things in the NFL. The tush push is an example. There are definitely people my age, probably younger even than me, maybe even your age, who just think the tush push is it's not football. This is, what are we doing here? This is a joke. You're making a mockery of this. This is not rugby. What are you doing? So the UFL wants to make sure that fan knows we're not putting that crap in our game. Come watch our game. We won't make you mad with that nonsense. There's got to be some effort to. I know it might be only a couple hundred people that you're gonna get their attention with that, but they're just trying everything they can. I'm sure it's more than a couple hundred.
I don't think any of this is as egregious as reviewing balls and strikes, though. Spring training is here, and there's a lot of pitch reviews. I saw
some footage this morning.
Can't.
Referencing an ump that might have gotten the first 6 pitches of the game wrong.
It was like 3 of the first 6 outs or something. I mean, it's somewhat the same logic as the NHL. And this is one where I don't even care that sports will never see it this way. I know that. Sometimes you just sort of give up on a take because it's never going to happen. Mm-hmm. I don't even care that it's never going to happen. But you cannot constantly stop your game, by the way, shortly after putting in a pitch clock that worked, to review pitches in a 162-game baseball season where a dozen teams make the playoffs anyway. That's hockey with the offsides, and that is this. If you get beat on a 9th inning bad call, tough. You're going to play tomorrow. Win tomorrow. You just cannot tell me that we need this in a league where there are so many games. Period. There's nothing more to say. Offsides in hockey. Oh, but what if it's game 82? You lost game 81. Next time, win game 81 and not worry about it. You did it. It's just wrong.
You reminded me how close we came to perhaps the best, most urgent conversation we could have ever had about the offsides challenge.
I know.
If that Team Canada game had gone differently on, what was that? Was that Friday? So close. We were so close.
That's the McKinnon goal that beat Czechia.
The winner, right. There was a late in regulation reviewed. We still would have needed Czechia to win.
Or Finland.
Whoever. Yeah,
Finland.
It was Finland, right.
Marner
Czechia
beat
was
Czechia.
the game before. Right.
It's Finland because Ristolainen is standing right there and the goal goes in.
So close.
Wow.
To Canada insisting they would never stop talking about the offside review.
Yep.
And that could have been good.
That would have been great. Instead, it's left to us to do it. All of the talking on the offside review. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. This is WGR.
If your heat's running all day,
Stay tuned for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Western New York Sport and Travel Expo at the Fairgrounds in Hamburg, which runs through March 6th through the 8th, courtesy of Renmar Events. Okay, so do that.
All right.
Here's Adam with us. Hello, Adam.
Hey, guys. I'm constantly frustrated by the way the NHL is run. And after these Olympics happened, watching how invested people were in hockey, the Olympic hockey, that people really aren't usually invested in paying attention to any hockey at all. It just got me thinking about how frustrated I am that the NHL seems to be happy being ho-hum and a niche league, and, kind of just seems like they don't really care that much about trying to do some aggressive or different things to grow the sport and make it more, mass appealing. The offside thing I could talk to you forever about, but the idea that I have to improving, some of the TV marketable games, especially in the regular season, is to get radical with the point system, and I want to see your idea on this. What if each division had, let's say 4 or 5 or 6 games a year, against a division opponent, where instead of a win being worth 2 points, it was worth 8, 6 or 8 points. Somehow, if they want to get more attention on regular season games in the regular season, the type of hockey that people always love talking about is playoff hockey. And the obvious answer to that is that the games matter.
If you have an injury, if I have an injury and you don't, I don't want to do it. I don't want to play.
I hear you. I know. That's one of the biggest retorts that I get when I have the conversation about it. But
Adam, we could talk longer, but we really don't have time to do that. We got about a minute before we have to get to commercial. I appreciate any kind of creativity along these lines. Never in a sports league do the games not count for the same amount, right? Can you think of any example where one game is worth more than another?
Yeah, no. I don't know.
So,
yeah.
Injuries happen, and that would make it inequitable.
Appreciate the creativity, but as soon as you said, make some games worth 6 or 8 points, my brain just went, it was dissonance.
The reason the point system is the way it is because it benefits the league in how it keeps teams closer together.
Right.
That's what they want. They want teams get to March and have a look at the playoffs. It's not about the competition, just like in baseball with wild card teams. It's really just not about what it should be about. You're right to point that out. Thanks, Adam. Sorry we couldn't talk for longer. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, back after the update. This is WGR.
Buffalo Bills head coach and general manager and president of football operations Brandon Beane both spoke with the media earlier today at the NFL Scouting Combine as day number 2 got underway. We do have some Bills news courtesy of Beane, as he confirmed the team has restructured right tackle Spencer Brown's contract that is now freed up around $10.4 million in cap space. Sal Capaccio has more on this up at our website, WGR550.com. Some other news around the league. Falcons GM Ian Cunningham confirmed today that the team will be releasing quarterback Kirk Cousins on the first day of the new league year, and the Falcons are also officially tagging tight end Kyle Pitts. Broncos offensive coordinator Davis Webb is expected to be calling plays this year, according to head coach Sean Payton. And the 49ers and left tackle Trent Williams could be heading towards a breakup as the two sides reportedly struggling to come to a solution with Williams' contract as he carries a $39 million cap hit. If they can't find a solution, he is expected to be released. And then for the Sabres, no practice today. Head coach Lindy Ruff, though, did meet with Jeremy and Joe earlier this morning. If you missed any of that, you can listen back on the Odyssey app or our website, WGR550.com. But we do have some roster news ahead of tomorrow night's game at New Jersey, as the Sabres have called up forward Anton Wahlberg from Rochester. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
We were having a very serious conversation about mayonnaise here.
And the Bulldog.
And don't even talk to me about weed.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
The headphones, sorry. Amateur hour, me. It's National Trading Card Day.
Mm-hmm.
I heard myself say it that time. I know you're excited. Just got a tweet from a listener. Is the Steven Strasburg card with you? Yes, it is.
Wow, very thoughtful of this listener to remember the history of the Steven Strasburg card.
Here it is.
Yep.
And he responds by saying or asking, isn't this the day where you give it to Bulldog for a year? And I'm like, a year? How about 10 years? I've had it in my possession since we bought it together.
I think I took it home once.
You did?
Maybe. And I brought it right back. I was like, I don't want, this could be the kind of thing that my wife gets on a cleaning jag, and she just it doesn't mean anything to her, and she just puts it somewhere and cannot tell me where, and I never find it again.
Yeah.
This happens. So I brought it back right away to you. Because I was like, I just don't.
You hold it.
I don't want anything to go wrong. You collect cards.
I do.
It'll be at least, and you would, at some point in there, maybe halfway through. So I don't know, 5 or 6 years or longer ago. How long ago did we buy this card?
2009.
Wow. I may have said even on the air, like, hey, what's going on with the Steven Strasburg card? You know where it is? Like, not exactly. Like I know
Me? I said that.
I know
That's right.
I know I have it.
No, that's right.
But I haven't looked at it in a while, and I think I know where it is. But I should confirm.
This is the genius of me, and I mean that sarcastically. There's a difference between not knowing where something is and it being lost or it having gone missing. It was never missing.
Right.
I just didn't know where it was at any given moment, and that's true of almost everything I own. And lately, I've been more and more frequently messing around with it. We cleaned the basement for the Super Bowl, and I have boxes of cards in my basement, piled on a table.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that has to change. So all I really do is move them into different corners so that the pool table where the boxes were resting is available. So my son and his friends could play pool. So I didn't really put anything away. There's no place for me to put it. I just moved it to the fringes.
Yeah.
And that also meant piles of cards that were not in boxes. So I moved those likewise. And then when I get back to it, which is like the other day, a month later, I don't know where anything is. Right. I mean, that's all. And a lot of my collection is pretty vast and pretty sloppy. Like, it's not well organized. And that just made it worse because I'm mixing sports and there's old and new. And today, getting 20 or so cards together for this, I mean, they were just, anything could have been anywhere. That's really
Yep.
that's the point.
Right.
Like, I was looking through some hockey cards, and who did I find? Naturally, Katharine Hepburn.
Sure.
There she is.
Noted hockey
Hollywood legend
aficionado.
Katharine Hepburn. Literally is a card that I'm holding right now that was in a pile of hockey cards with Carol Lombard and a guy from the Three Stooges.
At least on Golden Pond was a hockey movie.
Yeah. I think that's the only movie I've ever seen her in. Well, Pond. Did you mean? Is that what you were going for?
That's why I went.
Very
That's
good.
why I went with that one.
I stepped over Sudbury yesterday. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah. This reminds me of. This is not exactly the same thing because I don't misplace record albums, right? But for a good 5 years, maybe longer, I would, what do goobers like me who like to go shopping for records like to do? Like just go with I'm not looking for something. I'm not looking for the Beastie Boys' third record. I'm going to the record shop. I'm just going to start at A, and I got all day. I'm just going to go through here and like pull stuff out that catches my fancy, and then maybe I'll edit that down and end up buying 3 of the 10 things that I pull out of the piles, right? This is hours that you can spend in a record store. The people that work at the record stores love it. Anyway, I would do this.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. It was 5 years or more that I started collecting records again when we inherited my in-laws' collection. That sort of jump-started it because they had, original Beatles and Dylan records. I mean, just incredible treasures, right? It's like, I'm going to respect this. This is going to become the attic, and I'm going to do this. So I got all these records. There's like 1,000 records in the rack on the wall. And I'll go to the store. I come across a specific record by a band called The Strokes. Their first record, Is This It? Is in my mind, like for music, rock and roll nerds, it's an important record, right? It matters. It's great, and it matters. And I would come across it in shops and go like, of course I have this. It's The Strokes' first record. I must have this. I didn't have it. Mm-hmm. And like 6 months later, I'd be in a record store again, and the exact same thing where I would come across The Strokes, Is This It? Pull it out and go, oh, I must have this.
You don't.
And I did that a half a dozen times or more until I finally one day I pulled it. I'm like, no, I don't have it. I'm buying it today. That's it. This ends now. This is madness. I want this record in the collection, and I gotta get it. And if I do by some happenstance actually have it, which I should know by now that I don't, but I still doubt. Of course I have it. I'm cool. Why wouldn't I have the first Strokes record? Finally got it. Nevermind by Nirvana was another record like this. I had the CD for many years, but never had the vinyl. And thought mistakenly, not for as long as the Strokes thing went on, but a few times I would have that record in my hands, with the naked baby with the dollar bill in the pool.
That's that one?
Like, of course I have Nevermind. It's one of the most important records, since the 60s. It's a landmark. I must have it. Nope. I do now. I finally rectified that, but that Strokes thing went on for years. Just stupid. Look before you go to the record store. But I would never think,
No, you're not looking for it when you go.
Right. And I wouldn't be thinking about it ahead. Right. I wouldn't be thinking, what do I need? It's just, I'm just going to go pick through the piles and what looks cool. Like, just made the same mistake all those times, all those years. But anyway.
Well, it seems human.
Yeah.
By the way, there's a swatch, the Hepburn.
Oh, what's the swatch of a shawl?
It's an authentic
It's an
item.
autographed shawl?
It purports to be an authentic item personally worn/used by Katharine Hepburn.
I feel like worn/used could be a shawl.
Maybe it's a shawl, but those are two potentially very different things.
Right.
You want worn here. If it's something she wore, all right. I mean, we'll never really know. You just have to go with it.
Right.
But, if it's a top or something, great. Used. What is it, a paper towel? Like
a pen? That would be weird for a card.
Here's a few more that I thought with you in mind in a few cases.
All right.
Is this a valuable card? No.
Well, I sure hope there are some Kiss trading cards in here.
I have some stuff like that. I don't think I have Kiss. Is this a valuable card? No, but the beauty of it is the player's name is Card.
Oh, Michael Card.
Mike Card from the Sabres, 2006.
Mike Card, Michael Funk.
Michael Funk.
Michael Funk, Mike Card. One was a Michael,
Card.
one was a Mike.
I mean, made for it.
Yeah.
Born for it. Mike Card. National Trading Card Day. Here is your childhood hero, his rookie, Roger Staubach.
One of my
Rookie card.
childhood heroes. I can own that. Yeah.
1972.
What a good looking man.
Roger Staubach, rookie. Not in very good shape, so it's not super valuable. In great condition, this is a big card, but this is not in great condition. Do you ever have a card out there that you really don't like having? Well, here's one. Dual signed, brace yourselves, Martin Gerber and Cam Ward, 2006 Carolina Hurricanes.
Throw up in my mouth.
I said brace yourself.
I had to watch both of those guys play in that awful hockey game I went to during the 06 conference final. Oh, no, God.
Gerber played that whole game.
Oh, we did?
Shutout.
No, sorry.
Right?
That's right. Sure. I don't. Whatever.
They both played in the game I went to in 5 in Raleigh.
All right.
We good? You want more? Here's a great baseball card. Bob Uecker.
Oh, look at that smile.
1965 Topps Baseball. Bob Uecker playing for St. Louis.
What is he in that card? In that picture, 28 years old. He looks like he's 60.
Question. I bet you're right. 30.
Close enough.
You're a big Mr. Belvedere guy, I know.
That looks like a man like close to my age.
Bob Uecker, everybody.
It's incredible.
Who I just dropped.
These old sports cards.
I just dropped Bob Uecker.
Yeah. Speaking of things I have no idea where they are in my house, I used to have... I don't know that I ever bought them or if people, like friends, bought them. I had an Elvis thing, and I still have a few...
Like a phase?
Yeah, where I was just really fascinated with his place in American culture. And I still have a few things in the house, in the attic especially, that are Elvis. I got a metal poster basically for the movie Girl Happy that's hanging on the wall in the attic, and I got a couple of books and stuff, and I have a Zippo lighter that has Elvis on it. That is great. Back when we were younger and we were all smoking because nobody cared about anything, I had this one friend of mine who would come and ask me for a light, but he'd ask me like Elvis because I had the Elvis light.
Yes.
And I always loved that. I can't do it. I'm not going to try to do it. But I had a bunch of Elvis trading cards. There were Elvis trading cards.
Sure.
And I had quite a lot of them. And I have no idea on earth where in they're in the attic somewhere, probably in a crawl space that's just been buried by other things that over the years just sort of got, I don't need that out. I don't need that out. I don't need that out. And
your Elvis cards been
they're
sequestered.
They're probably gone. I mean, I could get to them, but it would take moving a table and moving some other stuff and getting in, and then probably getting a bunch of stuff out to dig in there and find, and it's probably not worth it.
I have stuff like that I bought when I was hosting the hobby. Sometimes people would email, like, want to come look and maybe buy something, and then I would do it. Never collected. Well, if I did, it was just very fleeting and I was a kid. But I do have like a huge box entirely consisted of Raiders of the Lost Ark cards.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think they're valuable at all. And it's not even a movie I care about.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't care about the movie at all, but they're green. This is the shape of the box, completely stuffed with Raiders of the Lost Ark. Some Beatles, some Superman, some Star Trek.
These are the kinds of things that
Mork and Mindy.
If like I'm alive when our house gets sold someday, I'll regret having to it's the kind of thing I'd be hoping like the people who move in don't know that stuff is there, and like I get out of there and the papers are all signed and they have to deal with all the junk that's in that crawl space. Like I am just but if I'm dead and my kids have to solve that, I'd be like, why does Dad have 500 Sports Illustrated magazines from the 90s?
Yeah. Good, fair question.
Because he's dad, and he, rather than carry them all the way downstairs to a dumpster that we may have had for a time when we were, doing a big cleaning, or just to throw out, in the garbage, he just never did it. He just stuffed them in the crawl space. So they're there.
Yep.
So,
he needed to have that SI with Anthony Hardaway on the cover.
Right.
We couldn't get rid of it. Joe Brady and Brandon Beane each spoke today. We're going to have some, if not all, of their media time for you later this hour. I've got ADP Chasing tonight, weekly podcast talking fantasy football, serious guys who are tracking draft position movement already. And, what are you actually tracking? Well, any sort of news can matter. And one thing we're going to focus on tonight is the potential effects of certain coaching changes. Because is Kevin Stefanski going to Atlanta good or really good for Atlanta's offensive guys? Things like that. Is there a Bills effect that would seem meaningful with Joe Brady going up top and Pete Carmichael? Is there some fundamental shift coming here that I'm not thinking of?
I don't know about a fundamental shift. It came to be known that Aaron Kromer, I believe, largely called the running plays. I mean, Brady, I think, had final say, but that there was someone calling running plays. And I'm not here to say that can't happen now, that he's the head coach, so maybe it still will, and whoever is, in that run game coordinator position maybe will still do some of that or all of that. But I think not so much specific to coaching, which is where you started here, but the center and the left guard. What am I going to do there? I think I'm almost certainly losing one of those guys, if not both. And what is that going to mean to James Cook? What is that going to mean to the Bills' ability to run the ball, at will, to have the leading rusher in the NFL? I think I would wonder about James Cook after, I know after the 2 years ago, all the touchdowns, regression's coming, be careful. Don't draft him in fantasy based on 16 touchdowns last year, right? And then he had, 12 rushing touchdowns anyway, which is still very good, and led the league in rushing. And it might feel like if last year were this year or this year were last year, however you want, I'm sorry to tangle it up, and Cook were coming off 12 touchdowns and 1,600 yards on top of what he did the year before, and the line was intact, I'd be like, full speed ahead on James Cook. With the line being in flux, I think there's reason to wonder if they're going to be able to just do what they want on the ground to the extent that they've been able to. So, maybe that's, and I don't know if you're already hearing or sensing that that's out there, but because I don't know that everyone is thinking about Connor McGovern and David Edwards. But locally, I certainly am, and that could be a reason to push Cook down a fantasy draft board a little bit.
It's I guess, a flaw in my game that once I've already lost on a player like Cook by not, quote, buying him when he was cheap, I can never buy a guy like that when he's expensive. I'll just never do it. He's 10th overall this year, running back 5. That's pretty good. That's not a reflection of, wait, the Bills are losing linemen. That's definitely not.
Right.
So what you have is the market has capitulated on him after last year. Like you said, he didn't get that much respect for the year he had prior, and then he kind of went and topped it. I'm not sure in fantasy points, but close. Had to be close. So he goes ahead of Genty. Never, ever, 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 ever would I pick him ahead of Genty, and I'll probably lose again. I don't know. I just the ceiling is so high for a guy like that. He's so talented. I just got to try. And I think Cook is fine, but really volume, circumstances, he's good enough to do what he's done. I feel like I'm in a Derrick Henry time warp, where I just could never draft him because it was already kind of too late, and I would almost never do it. So we'll see what we get. I mean, maybe you already know because this was from earlier today, but we haven't played it on our show except for a couple of clips. Joe Brady and Brandon Beane at the Combine in Indianapolis. Sal was on with us earlier from Indy, and I'm sure will be on with us again tomorrow as we get closer to Guys doing stuff.
Right.
Brady, Bean coming up. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.